He's hairier than a Sasquatch.
Expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network or anyone affiliated. There will be mature and possibly immature content. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. As a matter of fact, I probably wouldn't listen at all. It's very poorly produced. Take me to your leader.
Welcome to the Monster Castle Radio Show. For the extreme paranormal listener. And here is your host, the Wolfman Mike.
This is where all the real freaks hang out.
Yeah, man. We are here live with you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a really big show. Darren, are you there?
I'm here.
Right on. Okay, so last time my voice was way quieter than yours. This is the new setup. So, yeah, I think it looks pretty good.
Good.
All right. And we have Mr. Tom Sewid with us. How do I... Can you tell me how to pronounce your last name? Sewid. Okay.
Sewid.
That's right. I always forget. Anyways, you're from Sasquatch Island.
Yeah, I run the Facebook group Sasquatch Island, and I also have the TV series in productions right now called Sasquatch Island. It's an all-Canadian Indian production company. Two girls that are from one of the provinces there, Cree Indians, and they're a lot of fun to work with, doing documentaries with our fellow First Nations and American Indians on Sasquatch stories, encounters, and beliefs.
And I'm calling Barry right now. Trying to, anyway. There it goes. It's ringing him right now. This is my new calling line, and my other computer dropped.
The person you were trying to reach has
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Please try your call again later.
I might have to call him on my cell phone and then have him call back in a minute here. But no big deal.
I could talk to Tom.
Yeah.
Hey, are we going to do in news?
If you got some.
I have something I found this week that I thought was cool. You want to give me the news sound?
Sure. I'll do that. Okay. Here you go. Monster Castle News with Darren Hagewald.
Yes. Anyways, I found out this week, this is probably old news for some people, but there's an iron pillar of Delhi. Have you heard about this, Wolfman?
No.
There's an iron pillar in Delhi, India, which is 7 meters high. It's notable for its rust. It has not rusted. However, they made the materials in the construction, it won't rust. So it's attracted the attention of archaeologists and material scientists because of its resistance to corrosion. It's been there forever.
and they're trying to figure out exactly how they made it so that, we could make iron here that doesn't rust. It results from an even layer of crystalline iron, hydrogen, phosphate, hydrate forming on the high phosphorus content iron. So it's just kind of cool, It's kind of like those swords, the Damascus swords or whatever, that are really strong. They used to know how to do stuff way back in the day that we still haven't figured out. We figured out is it the Damascus sword? We figured out in 1990? And we're still trying to figure out this thing and why it doesn't rust. And I thought that was interesting for our show.
Yeah.
Figure that it's possibly made from a meteorite that was melted down, and that's one of the theories about the Delhi thing.
Oh, no kidding.
So you know something about this. That's awesome.
Oh, I like to read. I watched a lot of TV when I was a kid. But yeah, I remember that being on that show with Leonard Nimoy.
Way back in the day.
Oh, In Search of.
Sasquatches and UFOs, and that Pillar of Delhi was on there. That was back in 1974, I think. I remember going to the theater and hearing about that.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that until this week, and I thought that would be something to share. That's pretty cool. Hopefully they can figure that out. Figure out how they did it. Because most iron that would be there for 1,000 years or whatever it is would be totally melted, but it's in perfect shape.
Well, if it was on the show In Search Of, that was like 20 years ago, wasn't
it? Yeah.
Or more.
Oh, yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah. And
so
then, the ancient aliens, they studied it.
It still looks new. It's amazing.
An iron.
It's a miracle. Yeah. They don't understand it. High amounts of phosphorus in the metal, it says.
Well, if they haven't figured it out by now, I don't think they're gonna.
I don't know. Well, that's my news article.
All right. That was great. Okay. I'm still trying to get a hold of Barry.
All right.
Maybe you could ask Tom about that one story that he couldn't tell us the last time.
Well,
he didn't have time for
Tom,
it.
maybe the three definite encounters where you saw him. Could you go over the first two kind of quickly, because we did it on our last show, and then get to the third one, which I'm dying to hear.
The first one was on my commercial fish boat when we were anchored out in native Anchorage, where my trailer was on an abandoned island where our abandoned Indian village was, and we saw it in our spotlight, two of them, a big male, big female. 20 minutes or so we observed it, turned the spotlight off, they went into the bush, pushed a big dead tree down, and then about half hour or so later they came out. The big one came out on the beach again.
The male.
You could barely see it because he was quite a ways away, and then I tried the spotlight, just got his red eyes reflecting. And then he crept along the beach and came parallel to the boat anchored out, and he was within 60 yards of us. And we hit him with the spotlight again as he was entering the bush, and it was big. And then
you think he was protecting the female?
No, I think he was just curious, checking us out, wondering what we're up to.
Oh, no kidding. Just curiosity.
Yeah. I think they're curious. Like, I firmly believe they detest us humans, and I don't blame them. You got to put yourself in Bigfoot's foot, basically, and walk a day in his moccasin, so to speak. And, you can imagine what they've been subjected to. All of our diseases since European contact that decimated the indigenous people throughout the Americas, it happened to them as well. There's stories of them getting by coming to the human family members, all pox, and humans, some of their children that Sasquatches, they were all smallpoxed up, and the Sasquatch family just turned and walked into the forest and disappeared. And, you got all the evidence there of diseases being passed between the chimpanzee, the mountain gorilla, to humans, and humans back to them. And, it's, I'm not a scientist, but, I read the stuff that people are sending me, and, there's definitely that link that, how come there was so many reports of the Sasquatch during contact across North America, and then all of a sudden, the same time the Indians are dying off from disease, Well, the reports through the late 1800s into the early 1900s aren't really there. There's not very many. And yet we had extensive logging throughout North America, Canada, and the U.S., mining and trapping and people living out there. Yet there's this big drop in sighting reports until all of a sudden in the mid-1900s, and, correlates to Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin getting their video of their film of Paddy. And ever since that time, 1967, I was born in 1965. When I was born in my tribe in northern Vancouver Island, I think there was lucky to have 1,200 Kwakwaka'wakw people. Now we're well over 12,000, I hear. So if you look at all of the indigenous Indian tribes throughout North America, Canada, and the U.S., since the middle of the 1900s to present, there's been an explosion in our numbers, So, not just the Indians, everyone in North America, but the Indian populations have gone up in huge numbers since the mid-1900s. And that, to me, in my research, is starting to correlate to the high number of sightings we're getting of Sasquatches, skunk ape, mountain devil, Jersey devil, Bigfoot, you name it. These large bipedal Sasquatch, Bigfoot creatures are being seen more and more and more, and even more so with people with their video smartphones and cameras. And I think we're within a few years we're going to get that.
That has not been set up yet. Please try your call again later.
So they're making a rebound in numbers too.
Oh, absolutely. You look at some of the reports, like Ohio, for example. I'm just blown away by the amount of people that are joining my Facebook group, Sasquatch Island, that are from Ohio. And then when I communicate with them in private message, finding out the reason why they're joining is because they had a sighting that happened 2 years, happened 20 years ago. But if you're seeing if we look at our sighting reports, especially here in the Pacific Northwest, we're getting sightings coming from all corners of the Pacific Northwest in all seasons, which was odd because we didn't really get very many summer sighting reports in British Columbia coastal area. But in the last decade, I'm seeing that number starting to go up considerably.
Do you think they migrate in the summer usually?
Absolutely. And my region, Pacific Northwest, British Columbia, and they go up into the high grounds. Here in Washington State, I'm with my common law wife, my partner, Peggy, in Kent, Washington, and communicating with the native tribe members around here and others. Because of my experience and what I need to ask, there is a definite migration right now up into Mount Baker, the Cascade Range, Mount Rainier, Mount Hood, Mount Shasta even here. So they're going up there for the high concentration of vegetation and rodents and fawn drops. You got your elk and your deer and your mountain goats going up for fawn drops in the meadows when the snow recedes, because that's where your lush vegetation is. And if a mother ungulate is going to produce a high volume of milk, she's going to need a high concentration of protein. And that's why they go up and fawn drop up there. Cougars, bears, they follow the fawn drops up to the alpines. So does Sasquatch. And that's where they spend the summer. And when the salmon start showing up in our shallow waters of our upper portions of our rivers, creeks, and streams, then the migration comes down. And that time period is around mid-August. They'll start coming off high ground, and you'll start getting reports in the salmon spawning areas, corn fields, apple orchards, cherry orchards, and so forth. And then all of a sudden, when winter comes and the salmon are gone, they head for the shellfish beaches. I explained in the last show.
Wow.
I think we got Barry now.
Barry, are you there?
What?
I don't hear him. Barry.
What the heck?
Do you think they fish like bear? Just with their hands? You think they just grab them?
Well, they have been known to grab native fishermen's nets, gill nets, tangle nets, and pull them to shore and pluck the fish out of there. So, they're smart. They fished with, there's reports of them, jumping into creeks that are filled with salmon, grabbing one in each hand and walking into the forest with them. So, yeah, they basically everything a human can do, they can do.
I'd like to see one fly fishing. That's a joke.
Not fishing. That's us Indians. You look at us like us Indians. We don't go fishing. We don't sport fish. We go catching. You know.
Yeah.
just you guys like to go sit there and go to Cabela's and drop $1,500 so you can go fly fishing and maybe catch a fish or two, but you have to release them and you're using barbless. Us Indians use a big treble hook with barbs, and we go in there and throw it into 1,000 fish and yank, and then we got dinner in 10 minutes. That's fishing.
Nice.
That's catching.
Yeah. It's catching
And
to
the Sasquatch
eat is what
is
it is.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Barely.
Again.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if you, because I got disconnected a couple of times. So, I'm back. Tom, this is Joseph. Okay, I'm the skeptic in the group here. But I'm not trying to get in arguments or anything like that. But I like to present different views, and I don't debunk, but I am skeptical. But I like the investigative aspect of it. Things.
So
Tom,
what you're telling me is you're silly.
Tom, what would you say to people who say, I would like to see some kind of picture where it's not fuzzy like that one? I forgot the name of the guys who took the famous picture of, what's said to be Bigfoot from, was it the 70s? I think it was. Some people, especially with today's technology, with all the smartphones and other devices, and all these people in the woods and things, wouldn't we have sharper images of Bigfoot or Sasquatch? Excuse me, Sasquatch.
The main reason is everyone's so accustomed to open up National Geographic or going on to a website and looking at crystal clear pictures or seeing a post in social media of this perfect image of a grizzly bear feeding on salmon. Well, being a grizzly bear guide for ecotourism, before that I was a hunting guide, Safari Club International clients. But anyway, those perfect grizzly bear pictures or wolf pictures or eagle pictures, they take hundreds of shots. They scroll through back in the 35 millimeter day area. They develop the roll and they'd sit there with a magnifying glass and look at the negatives. And 90% of them were bunk, garbage, blurry, hazy, this, that, overexposed, underexposed. And then they get out of 100 shots, 1 or 2 that they can submit to the National Geographic. That same thing takes place. It hasn't changed. When you grab your cell phone, this POs me to the max when I'm trying to get advertising pictures for my different things. And whoever's got my cell phone, my smartphone, they're sitting there jiggling away, pushing a button like they're pushing a button on a vending machine. And you know damn well that picture is going to be blurry. And they take one picture and that's it. No, you take 30 pictures, because out of that 30, I might be able to use 1 or 2. So everyone's got this whining, cry, bitch mentality. How come they're always blurry? Well, being a hunting guide who's been around grizzly bears for most of my adult life, you go out there with a camera and get me a picture of a grizzly bear, real crispy and clear with your smartphone and your video camera, and you try to be close to that thing. Well, if you only take 1 or 2 clicks, chances are going to be blurry. So the Sasquatch is the same thing. When you come across a Sasquatch in your close proximity without a telephoto lens to get a crispy clear picture, you're going to be so beeping scared you're going to be needing Depends, because you're probably either piddling yourself or you're pooping your drawers. It's one of the most humbling and scary situations a person can go up against, and that's being close proximity to this thing that looks like a human, but it's way bigger, way stinker, and if that thing eyeballs you, it shakes you to the core. So to these people that keep whining about blurry pictures, blurry that, get your fat butt off the couch and shut your computer off and get out to the bush where us real bushers handle, and then go to walk in our moccasins and take some crystal clear pictures. Then you got the right to talk, bitch, and moan. And I'm getting sick and tired of it.
I just had
all I hear,
Tom.
whine.
What about those cameras like for hunters or even paranormal searchers where they have them strategically placed where it's motion censored and it takes a picture. Those are they're fairly sharp. They're not the sharpest. They're not like you said the National Geographic quality. But I personally haven't seen any Sasquatch or Bigfoot pictures from one of those kind of So what about those
Game
sort of
cameras.
pictures?
They're called game cameras.
Yeah, but they usually get
Thank you.
smashed. Those
The
cameras
reason with
get
game
smashed.
cameras. Today I was watching a post that came up in social media of one of the rarer type of species of mountain gorilla. And, all the young juveniles and the young females, they're going about their business, but you see them eyeballing where the camera is on this tree, this trail camera video. And then after about 5 minutes, the big silverback leader comes, and he's watching his troop, and he sees them looking at that camera. He sees that camera, and all of a sudden he charges the camera, and he pounds his chest with that popping noise, and then he pulls off to the left and disappears out of frame. And the other one that's sitting there that sees this all take place, she looks at the video camera, and then that's the end of the 5-minute clip. And then you're hearing from people that are using trail cameras that they're eyeballing them, they're beating them. But I don't know why. I'm not a camera dude who knows, what are they seeing? The infrared beam or whatever? Are they picking up the electromagnetic pulse from the batteries? I don't know. And no, please
Maybe
don't
some
go
sound.
on this.
That is very interesting. That is very interesting.
Barry, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
There we go.
Yay!
Came
Tom,
in
I had a question about the one video that I think is the most impressive for me, and I want to know if you think it's real. Is the Sasquatch with the little one?
Yeah, that's one I was just going to mention too. Yeah, I think that one's real.
I do
it's
too.
amazing.
I think it's incredible, and anybody that says there's not a crystal clear picture of one needs to see that. Just look at I don't know what it would be under, but it's on YouTube all over the place, and it's incredible. I mean, it leaves its child behind. It kind of looks at him, and then it picks it up and then darts across. And it's like looking at the person with the camera over the rock and the trees. It's incredible, I think.
I think before we end this, though, we got to, stand united. Like, I started a cause here on social media about 6 months ago that, we serious Sasquatch, Bigfoot researchers, we can't be putting up with this woo-woo stuff, all these alien traveling Sasquatch people and mind thinking and porthole jumping Sasquatches. It just doesn't equate. They're just critters. So a lot of the people I see that are, captains and leaders and figureheads in the Sasquatch Bigfoot community, they followed what I did. They, we get our boots dirty out in the bush. We got the right to talk, say what we mean and mean what we say. And I've been saying it all along, you come on my group and you want to get woo on me, you get one warning. After that, I flush you and you're out of there. You're off my group. You're blocked from anything. You can't communicate with me because I got no time for the woo. The same thing with the bitchy, whiny moaner. They're sitting on a couch, got their bonbon candies in the dish in front of them and their big, huge 7-Eleven Slurpee, and they got the time to moan away about us people with dirty boots out in the bush getting blurry pictures. It's time for us to stand united and say, look, if you don't got nothing good to say, don't say a damn thing. And if you want to get a crispy picture, hey, guys like me and Olympic Project and Barry down in Nebraska, we're doing adventures, expeditions. We'll take you out. Yeah, it costs money. It's our businesses. But, if you want to bitch and moan, maybe you better walk in our muddy boots beside us there for a few hours, a few nights. And then you can go back to your laptop and your bonbons and whine about our blurry pictures. But we will get the crispy clear ones. And like that one you just mentioned, there'll be the people stepping up going, it's too perfect. It's too crystal clear. It was a setup. It's someone in a suit. Come on. We just got to tell them to shut that beep up. We've had it with you guys. That's what I got to say.
You better be careful, Seth.
No, I'm not. Well, no. I'm not intimidated by anybody. But it's just.
I know.
It's just. I mean, just like you have the right to believe. What is wrong with wanting proof? Is that so bad? I don't understand why that's such a bad thing.
Because they're whining. Us Bushmen, they got to remember, that's what I tell people on social media pretty much daily. You got to remember, I'm a commercial fisherman all my life. I'm a Bushman. I'm an Indian. I've been around the rough and the tough in coastal British Columbia and elsewhere all my life. If you want to come in, bitch, whine, moan, complain, throw woo-woo down my throat sideways like the missionaries did with their Bibles, I ain't going to put up with it. And, it's like a grizzly bear or a Sasquatch. You go poke and prod them, they're going to turn around them. They're going to do what they got to do. And, you don't do that. Sasquatches,
Sorry.
Yep.
Can I ask this real quick, Tom? Because, okay, just like from your perspective, you want people to believe you and accept what you have to say. Plus, and I'm sure that you're suggesting that people, and I agree with you on this, Tom, that people should go out and find out for themselves. I'm a strong believer in the investigative aspect, even as a skeptic. So I commend you on that. But I noticed, and you're right about this, Tom. I've noticed there is a movement among some people who believe in Bigfoot. When I went to Alien Con in Silicon Valley last year, I forgot the name. It's like it's a Sasquatch television show. I forgot the name of it. And there's two guys who head it up. One is from Omaha. But anyway, they had like 3 classifications of how people see Sasquatch/Bigfoot these days. One of them is kind of the more traditional, what you're talking about. The other 2, I forgot one is, and the other one is like what you're saying, Tom, kind of the more sci-fi / you're kind of getting more into the portal, the high-tech Bigfoot. Bigfoot is an alien. So like every other movement, it seems to be bifurcating and trifurcating to different movements. There are people who do believe possibly that. In fact, I talked to one online several months ago. He really believes that it's a possibility that Bigfoot, and he used the word Bigfoot, is actually more advanced than we're giving them credit for. I mean, he believes it just like you believe the way. So, so talking to me, Tom, as a skeptic, I don't have a dog in this fight. Why can't I believe what they believe, that Bigfoot is maybe some kind of alien, high advanced alien, but you have your belief about Sasquatch? I mean, I'm hearing 2 different things from different people. Are both of you guys right, or can you help me with that, Tom?
No, those other guys that are woo-woo, they're all wrong. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Barry,
though,
Barry, what do you think of that? What's Barry's opinion?
Let Tom finish the question.
Okay.
Tom's watched them for a long time, so he got to see how they acted.
So you, the skeptic out there, is it true about these things called albino humans that have red eyes and white skin and no pigments? Yes or no?
Well, of course, albino people are real. But I have a friend who is albino. That's the difference. I've touched and talked to him, had a conversation with him. And plus, and it is documented, we see them on TV. I can't say that about Sasquatch. I can't. Now, with that said, I'm not a debunker of Sasquatch or Bigfoot. It's just, I think there's a possibility that there's some kind of, like I said this before, I'm trying not to beat a dead horse over and over, but and other times I've been on your show, Mike. But basically speaking, like with the deforestation that's going on in Brazil and other places throughout the whole world, where scientists are discovering different species. Mind you, we're talking about smaller species. We're talking amphibians and bugs and whatnot. But just like because of those discoveries, because there are places even now that humans haven't gone to, because with the deforestation, we're finally seeing these other species. I think that is a possibility that there could be some kind of hominid out, especially out in the Northwest for North America, because it is so thick. The forests are so thick there. So there is a possibility. I'm not a debunker, Tom, but I'm just saying the albino analogy you're using, I've actually talked to an albino friend of mine and talked to him. I can't say that about Sasquatch. That is the difference.
I've never seen a albino human, but I've been into a lot of cities. And you know what? I totally believe that is true. It's a scientific fact. Albino humans exist because I've seen albino rabbits and a deer. So I believe you that you have a friend that has an albino who is an albino. But you see what I'm getting at?
He's a DJ.
See what I'm getting at? Albinos are true. They exist. Sasquatches are true. They exist. The woo side, I don't want to get in there because to me, I call it the mental Band-Aid. It's like when someone gets something traumatic happening to them. all of a sudden their mind blocks it out. You don't hear people standing there on street corners proclaiming that they were sexually abused or physically abused or mentally abused. They're proclaiming they're broke. They need money, give them some dollars, or they're in support of an environmental cause. But you see what I'm getting at? When you go through a traumatic situation, your mind comes in with a Band-Aid, whatever they call it, endorphins or whatever.
I agree.
And it helps
I
you
agree.
deal with the situation. And I think that's when these people all of a sudden go, oh my God, I saw a Sasquatch. And it jumped through this porthole and disappeared. No, what happened was they turned and put their tail between their legs, and as they're piddling themselves, they ran away from that situation. But their mind let them believe it jumped into an alien spaceship or a porthole. That's the mental Band-Aid. So all this woo-woo stuff I don't follow.
Oh
Do you
my
dismiss
goodness.
it?
Okay.
Do you dismiss it outright, or
Yes.
do you think it's a
It's a bunch of
possibility?
hokum. It's Walt Disney. It's BS.
Okay.
Imagination.
All
Gotcha.
right, I believe we have
I
our drinking trigger word for the night, which would be piddling.
Piddling.
Does coffee
All right,
count?
Tom. You know what to do.
Yeah, by the way, I got to piddle here pretty soon.
I did too.
All right, damn, I got to drink again now.
Hey Tom, I hope you don't take. I'm not. This is not personal. I hope you don't take it personally when I say that.
Oh, I do. I'm going to
I don't.
headlock when I see you.
You're gonna piddle. You're probably
But
gonna
I
piddle.
just have to, I just have to be honest. Like I said, there's a difference between debunking and there's a difference, between debunking and being skeptical. I am skeptic, but I don't debunk. If I ran into people who, if I put it, it's hypothetical, but just so you can see where I'm coming from, Tom. If I ran into someone who said, "Oh, those stupid idiots who believe in Bigfoot and aliens and all those, they're so stupid," and I would say, "Now hold on, now, it's, because physically speaking, you're, with aliens or UFOs, the concept." No, I am just skeptic about that. I haven't seen it, but there is a possibility because you're talking about technology, traveling by technology. That is possible, not likely, but it's possible. But to debunk it, say it never happened, how do you know? It's hard to disprove a negative, but I mean, until you have proof either way, then I guess that's where the agnosticism comes in, for me personally speaking. So that's where I'm coming from, Tom.
The Mossberg print showed us Sasquatch in its footprint that had a very deformed foot. That was the specialists, the doctors. Grover Krantz, one of them, and I believe Meldrum looked at the cast afterwards and confirmed that it had a very traumatic injury why its foot was doing that. So if these things can jump in and out of spaceships and fly around in UFOs, then they have the medical technology never to have one of their Sasquatch brethren, family, ever have a deformed foot like that and have to suffer with that pain of that injury. So right there, that debunks them jumping in and out of spaceships.
Well, we have a lot of human beings right now, millions with deformities, and we have high technology to, we have 3D printing for limbs now.
All right, guys, we got to take a short break here. It's the bottom of the hour. And
I got to go piddle.
Yeah,
I have to
everyone
piddle
go
also.
piddle.
Drinking.
That's 3 drinks, everybody.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Wolfman Mike, Jeff the Gray, Adam Shadow, and Darren, the man with 1,000 questions. Now join us as we explore the mysterious nature of our world. Igor, release the monsters from the dungeon. Crack some drinks and let go. Unwind, open your mind, just know. Psychics, mediums, ghosts, fireballs, lunar anomalies, Sasquatch, UFOs. It's Monster Castle Paranormal Radio. 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 in Alaska. Our moral compass, Curtis Green, with Eric the Protector, and hugs from Apocalypse, the Angry Bob, and keeping it real with Stabby McHugs. Crack some drinks and let go. Unwind, open your mind, but just know.
Don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep.
Remote viewing. Rabbit toys. Glowing orbs. Lost treasures. Martian artifacts. The chupacabra. Debbie, Daily,
It's Monster Castle Paranormal Radio. It's Monster Castle Paranormal Radio. It's Monster Castle Paranormal Radio. It's Monster Castle, Monster Castle Paranormal Radio Show.
Story they did on us.
And might still be out piddling.
No, we're back.
Okay, good.
I don't have to piddle now.
I don't either. I just went. I piddled.
All right, everybody drink now, and then you have to piddle again.
So, Barry, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How did you meet Tom?
How did I meet Tom? We've kind of been around. We met through Mehmet.
I think that I was the actual catalyst to that, Darren.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's just so weird when you know two people from two different places and you find out they're friends. That's great.
It was your idea, Darren. You told me to get them together on a show, so
I did.
I tried to do
awesome.
that, and it worked.
I thought they would hit it off. I really did. That's awesome. Where are you going to take him next weekend?
Go ahead.
Where are you taking Tom next weekend? What are your plans for him? We want an update afterwards too.
All right. Well, are we on, or what's the deal? We still on break?
Nope.
Oh no, we're on the air right now.
We are back.
Oh, okay. Let me do this because I love it that we have a skeptic on. Go to KCAU channel 9, not channel, just 9 after KCAU 9. And type in brothers try to prove Bigfoot exists. You will probably see one of the clearest images. Now, I chimed in when Thomas and the gentleman was talking about, the alien and the skeptic. Go to that because there's an image on there that it's our image, and it's a face of an actual Bigfoot. And it's actually pretty clear.
Okay, I'm KCOAU. Okay, I put KC.
Yeah, go.
Yeah,
it's on Facebook.
It down too, as he was talking.
News Channel 9.
Well, just KCAU 9 in Sioux City, Iowa.
Sioux City, yeah, I got
look
it.
for. Type in brothers try to prove Bigfoot exists. And we actually show there should be a tree structure. There should be a footprint, and there should be his face.
Okay, let's find this.
I've had to go somewhere else where it's quiet, and I don't have access to my laptop right now, so I can't look at it right now.
You're the one we wanted to see it.
No. in all honesty, my stepson is here. He's autistic, and it's kind of hard for it's called echolalia. It's where you talk out loud to yourself. So,
Sure.
Yeah. So, and I tried. Anyway, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt. This is about you guys. You guys go ahead, please.
I'm having trouble finding it. Finding KCAU TV 9.
No, don't type in TV.
Oh, that's what it came up.
KCAU. Yeah, KCAU 9.
Here.
Anyway, while you're looking for that, I guess we can, proceed with whatever we're talking about.
I had a question for Tom.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm looking at your picture. Are those bear claws around your neck?
Yeah, it's a grizzly bear. I was a hunting guide for over 20 years, so that's one of the grizzly bears that I had to put down there in close quarters.
Is that just one bear, all those claws?
Yep, those are the front left and right paw.
Nice. That was a big bear.
Yeah, he was about 900 pounds, I guess.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun hunting them. I don't do it no more, though. My son's name is Gelaji Hunter Sewid. It means big grizzly bear hunter paddling towards a chief giving potlatch. He's 16 now, so before he's 18, he's going to have to shoot a black bear and a grizzly bear. And then he can make his choice whether he wants to join PETA or not. But for the time being, he has to go out and hunt and prove himself. And he's a bushman anyway, but he's looking forward to going out. And that's the next, probably be the last grizzly bear I'll ever hunt.
Wow. They're good eating, though, aren't they?
Oh, God, no. They taste worse than sea lion.
Really? Black bear, are black bear pretty tasty? I've had black bear before.
Yeah, you just got to make sure you get one that's not close to a garbage cans or garbage dump, so you got to go far afield. And try to shoot a smaller one, like a 2 or 3 year old, after it gets away from mama. That's the one you want to get. Big, huge boar that you're going for, a big hide and big skull measurement. Oh, God, they're nasty. They're tough and oily, and, God, they taste nasty. Survival food.
Really? Yeah. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to eat bear. I don't know.
I've eaten bear before.
Same as raccoons. I don't know. I like eating
Wow.
that either.
They must have removed it.
Yeah, it looks like they removed that picture, Barry, from SiouxlandProud.com. We can't find it.
Yeah.
It's not coming up.
I got 2 brothers on the hunt for Bigfoot right here.
Oh. What's up?
I'm just waiting for the pictures to come up. I think I might have found it.
Okay.
Pictures and videos collected have convinced them and others that Bigfoot exists.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just waiting for the pictures to come up.
I hope you guys find one next weekend.
Loading. Wow.
We're finding them. The trouble is trying to get pictures of them. You know, they're so good at camouflaging themselves and staying hidden.
Yeah.
I wonder. It was trying to put a damn
ad.
An ad was trying to pop through. Yeah.
How many times have you smelled them, but never saw them at all? But you knew it was there because of the smell. Tom?
Quite a few times. You usually smell them or hear them. Usually, I think it's when you smell them, it's I kind of believe it's like the primates that have the underarm scent glands and they release.
Musk.
I think that's a mechanism for them, sort of saying, okay, that's it, get out of here. I don't want you around. Usually they're generally, you hear them chirp or they'll throw something at you or they'll shake brush. I've never heard it myself, but I've heard reports in my region where they do like a gorilla and pound their chest.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
real.
How about you, Barry? How many times have you smelled them, but not saw them?
Well, I would have to say that's happened several times. If we're talking about eye glow, and if Wolfman, if you're reading that article, I talk a little bit about how many times I've saw them. If we're talking eye glow, I probably saw them over 100 times and counting. All areas are a little different. I think I told this the last time, or maybe another time before that. I had a 20-minute encounter He was about, I always say 30, but after I saw how far 30 was, it was more like 15 to 20 yards, was the distance between us. We had a standoff.
Yeah,
is that that old one?
Yeah,
he shot me.
Your brother Derek and you are both mentioned in this article, but I don't see the pictures. There's no pictures.
It's on the video.
Yeah,
the news clip.
Oh, okay. The news clip's here. The news clip is there. So I'll send a link to this page onto. I'll put it in the chat room and I'll put it on #47Talk and Twitter.
Nice.
Awesome.
I'll check it out when I go pedal next time.
Uh-oh, everybody drink again.
Yeah, I got my coffee.
Oh, my God. Everyone's going to be drunk again, Tom.
Oh, God, I'm drinking tequila and Mountain Dew.
Nice.
That sounds like a great combo.
I'm drinking tequila and Diet Coke right now. Mountain Dew's better, though.
Drinking coffee. Espresso.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Have you guys ever found Sasquatch scat?
Yeah, I have. I have a couple of times.
Yeah, I've seen it in the abandoned native village in my tribe when I used to do the native tours there and be the watchman. We had a lot of bear activity, and then all of a sudden you'd be walking in the village in the morning and, all the blackberries, apple trees, crab apple, plum, and you'd see the pits and the scat all through there. And, sometimes I'd walk in and go, oh, looks like I got a grizzly bear visiting the village. And then sometimes it was like, ooh, wow, that's not a grizzly bear or a black bear coiler steaming away there. So, yeah, I've seen them.
Does it look like human feces, or is it different?
It looked like a human coiler that he'd drop as he's just walking along.
Huh.
Not coiled.
Yeah.
It's, it's like a big, huge salami broken up line on the trail.
Is that the same thing with you, Barry? Barry?
What's that?
Would you confirm that? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah. In fact, we know exactly what deer and all that looks like. This one it looked like a damn human took a shit out there.
Yeah, I imagine. Well, they're very human-like. I would imagine it looked like that. Interesting. Tom, are you going to get to your third sighting? You got to tell us.
I didn't tell you the sea kayak camp one, did I? When I rolled a big boulder down?
No, I don't think so. Maybe that was the second one.
When my sister did like Jesus and tried to walk across the water, she got so scared. I didn't tell you that one, did I?
I think you might have, but let's tell it again.
Again.
Yeah, well, my sea kayak camp on Vancouver Island, when we built these 5 cabins there that are reminiscent of a West Coast native cedar longhouse, and we painted orca designs on the front, and that's where our sea kayakers would stay. And now we're using it for Sasquatch expeditions, and it was bring my kids there so we can just camp, have our nice little cabin and windows on the side and watch cruise ships and orca whales and humpback whales. And when we were building it, my work crew didn't tell me till sometime later that they found a footprint in the gravel down on the beach above the high tide mark. I just said, oh, it's probably some hippie kayaker paddling by and stopped down here. One of the guys looked at me and goes, no, Tom, it was this big. And he put his hands up, and, he looked like, probably close to 20 inches, what he was trying to describe. And I know that, I kind of thought, there's not that much shellfish beaches around here. So I kind of wrote it off that they were just seeing a bear track or something. But once the cabins were established and everything, we had a big tide come in. The tides fluctuate every day and every week. We had a big one come in, and it washed a bunch of big driftwood. In British Columbia, our beaches are covered in driftwood. And we're talking, stuff the size of cigarette packs right up to big monster logs that are 6 foot thick and 50 feet long. So I had all these big logs, and I brought my big Husqvarna chainsaw down, largest one they make, 36-inch bar on it, and I went through 2 tanks of gas cutting all this driftwood up. And my 2 crewmen were pushing the logs I cut up, the small pieces, getting it out of the way because we had a kayak group coming in a few days and we needed the beach access. And my sister wanted to come out, and she's a concrete Indian. She's, 10 years younger than me and grew up in the city, so I call her a concrete Indian. So she wanted to come be bushy like her brother. So we had her out there, and my dog, his name was, and Barry's going to like this, my golden lab cross, his name was Land Claims Treaties Now. Everywhere he lifted his leg and went, piddle, we would claim it back. But anyway, Land Claims at this time was a 6-year-old bush dog, and he was trained to spin bears. So in other words, if I see a bear, I'd just go, Land Claim, spin bear. And he'd go at the bear and he'd chase it and spin it like it's chasing its tail. They're trying to get land claims off of their butt. That gave me enough time to get far enough away. I don't want to shoot every animal out there, So I'd get away from the bear or get in the boat, and then I'd whistle. And as soon as I whistled, land claims would come running, catch up with me without the bear. So anyway, he's a bush dog.
He spins when he sees the bear instead of points? Is that what's...
No. He goes after the bear and starts chasing its ass, and then the bear starts spinning, trying to get my dog, and he just keeps the bear spinning so I can get the hell out of there.
Oh, the bear spins. Okay.
Because you hear all the stories of people go out with those imitation dogs, those little fifi mutts, and all of a sudden the dog goes chasing in the bush after noise or smell, and all of a sudden the big bear gets mad, chases the little fifi Bichon Frise or Chihuahua dog back to the fisherman with his fly rod standing knee deep in the creek, and the dog hides between his legs. Well, what do you got? You got a 1,000-pound bear coming down mauling the fisherman now. So you got to teach dogs to be bush smart.
Are most bears afraid of big dogs?
No, dogs are as dumb as their master. So you got to teach your dog. And what I do is I teach them with other dogs how to spin. You don't want to get them fighting, so I'd get him to spin the dog, and then he'd bring him up to spinning bears. So when you told your dog, spin bear, he knew his job. Run at the bear, get that thing running in circles, and then wait for the call or the whistle. And I say, time to come, and then you'll come running down, jump in the boat, and I pull off the beach and take off. And,
oh, nice.
Now you got a live bear. Being a bushman, anything like being an Indian up here in Canada, we have the right 365 days a year to hunt for food, social, ceremonial purposes outside of private property without permission and outside of federal parks. So basically 99% of Canada is open for us to food, social, ceremonial harvest. Anything comes within 20 yards of me or 20 feet of me and it's aggressive, it becomes food, social, ceremonial real fast. I don't care what it is. I'm going to punch lead in it and drop it.
Sure.
So, I don't want bears coming at me. I got no reason to shoot them. So anyway, I teach my dog, and that's what he was done. He was trained for. So after I finished cutting the logs and I finished burning out my tank of gas, I put the saw down. I'm all hot and sweaty, and I told one of the younger crew, grab me a Pepsi from the cabin. So he went and grabbed one, and when he was in there, he saw some mouse, so he jumped real loud, scaring the mouse out of because that was our kitchen cabin. And, he's just horsing around. He's a young teenage pup. And then all of a sudden, this 2 trees up on the bank, about 20 feet above where my cookhouse was, just started shaking like you see those ghost movies, paranormal movies, when those spooks or those ghost creatures start shaking real fast like a human couldn't. Well, that's what these 2 trees are doing. And then all of a sudden, this big boulder come rolling down. Well, I looked at land claims. I'm like, land claims, get it. He goes running up the bank, and he gets up to the 2 shaking trees and doing his job. He looks behind the tree, and all of a sudden he just looks at me, and he just sprung on all fours and flew off that 20-foot bank, hit the ground, and there was this golden lab streak go barreling by me, and he jumps into the duck punt we had on the beach. We had 2 dinghies on the beach, and my 32-foot, 12-passenger water taxi tour boat anchored at the anchor buoy in the middle of the bay. And, right away I'm thinking, no, my dog don't do that. So I look back up, and the tree's still shaking. And then I'm taught, you don't just look at, what's going on. You got to do a 360-degree spin. At that point, it was a 180 spin I had to do, look behind the cabins. And as I'm scanning to my right, there behind my cabin, about 70 feet away, is this big, huge Sasquatch in the V of two trees, standing just inside the branches. And I look at him, he's looking at me, we eyeball lock each other, and the first thing that came to my mind was, gee, his eyes kind of look like the shape of pierogies. That's the first thing I thought of, because his eye shape was a little different than a human. And then all of a sudden you just see the muscles in his neck all start tensioning up and the tendons showing, and then he just, boom, his lips open up and he's got this big white, brown, toothy grimace looking right at me. I'm looking at him and I'm just like, holy, that thing's big. And I look at my crewman, get my gun. And he's like, your gun's out in the boat. He doesn't know what I'm looking at. I'm like, well, get me something. Get me an axe. Get me a machete. And he's digging around looking under the cabin for an axe. And he finds a machete. And my sister, she's like, get me the hell out of here. And she turned and the tide now, and all that driftwood that's at the high part of the beach and the stuff I cut up is all floating in about 4 feet of water. Well, she looked like Jesus Christ trying to walk on the surface of the water going over those things, and she's this freak. And I'm like, you guys get in the dinghy and get out to the boat. And I'm kind of be calm, and I'm telling my sister, slow down, you're going to break your leg. And I get into the dinghy where my sister and my trembling dog are both sitting there giving me looks like, get us the hell out of here. And we have a line going from the beach to the stern of my boat to keep the bow pointing into the waves coming into the bay. And my sister starts pulling that. Well, the dinghy we're in, it's one of those rectangle duck punts, and it's about 8 feet long. Well, she's pulling it sideways, and it's almost flipping. And I'm like, tell her, slow down, let me spin this thing around. And she's just freaked. And we get to the boat, and the dog jumps on before we're about 5 feet from my swim grid, and the dog just bails out of the duck punt, jumps on the swim grid, runs across the deck, through the open door. I get on the boat with my sister, and I jump on board, and I go walking through the 12-passenger cabin to the cuddy cabin up front to grab my .338 Seiko in its gun case. I get in there, bend down to grab my gun, and there's my big, brave, fearless land claims bush dog trembling and shaking, looking at me like, get me the hell out of here, boss. And I get the gun, and I go outside and start the motors on the way through, and the two boys are on there, and one of them is a Dutch boy. He was my sea kayak guide. He's whimpering and crying and tears coming. He's just freaked. And then all of a sudden you heard that big roar. And my sister's like, just a little concrete Indian streak as she runs into the boat, goes screaming at me to get her out of there. And so we dropped the anchor line loose, and we got out of there. And I'm like, oh, we'll just go around the corner and we'll go tie up in that bay next door. And my sister's like, oh, bloody way, you get me out of here. So I would get out into the middle of Johnson Straits, and it's blowing 35 westerly in the evening breeze, we call it. There's a big ebb tide happening. We got about 8 miles to get to Sewid, my home port, and it's notorious for the ebb tide with a big west wind. They just get these monster tide rip waves, and I'm just like, we can't go to Sewid. It's just not safe before dark. So I had to go across the channel to a dock that's at a little homestead on the mainland, and that's where we ended up staying. The woman that ran the post office, homesteader, older lady, good friend of mine, she offered the bedroom of her daughters for my sister, and there's no bloody way my sister wasn't going to leave the boat. She said, I'm sleeping with you close to that gun, she goes. In all honesty, that was 2006, and she's told me she's never camped out of a public campsite where there's a lot of people. And she has no intention of going out the bush again. She got scared white that day.
Wow. And they all knew it was a Bigfoot right away.
Oh, God, yeah. When he heard that thing scream, back hairs and your neck stood up. That thing was PO'd. He did not want us there.
How long before you went back?
Oh, I went back the next day. After I got rid of my sister, I went back in with my two crew and a couple other buddies of mine. We lit that thing up like a World War III. We went in with 12 gauges, .338, 375 H&H I was packing that one, and with my .338 slung over my shoulder. And I had my young crewman who didn't shoot, and he was carrying my 12 for me. We went in there and lit that place up. I let them know on the way in, I was drinking. I had bottles of water, and I was just gacking back the water because it's about an hour drive from Sewid by the logging roads into my camp. And when we got there, we were walking all around the perimeters, lighting it up with shots and flares, and I was peeing all over the place. I was basically just staking my claim. I was letting them know, okay, you scared me out of here because of my sister yesterday, but now I'm back and I'm peeing in my corners here. This is my turf. You're not welcome. And after that, we never had any problems with him.
Nice. Did you see any tracks from where he was or anything? Any other sign?
Oh, yeah. But you couldn't pour them or anything. It's not that I did plaster with me. I had no intent of getting pouring or anything back then, but you could see the indentations in the moss inside the trees and everything. There was some major tree breaks. There's actually, if you go to Sasquatch Island, there's a picture of me with a camouflage colored vest on, and I'm standing by a tree snap. That's right at the camp, and that was fresh when I seen it that day. There was, I think we recorded 6 tree snaps all around my camp that next day when we went in there.
How big was the boulder it rolled down?
It was about, I guess, perspective-wise, I guess, size of a dining room table for 8. It was a good size.
It's huge. 1,000 pounds and more.
4 of us couldn't move it. We tried.
Really?
Yeah.
4 men couldn't move it.
Yeah, and one of them was a big, huge logger named Walt. He's a big, tough bugger. He's a big Norwegian. He's built like a brick shithouse.
Oh, my gosh. Imagine how strong they are then.
Well, if you compare chimpanzee, they're amazingly strong. If you look at size perspectives, like I remember when I was bugging a monkey at Mexico one time, and I was all half snapped on tequila, and I had to piddle. Take a drink, boys. And there's this monkey hanging around the bar table, so I thought I'd be, tease him back. Well, that bloody monkey got pretty annoyed. He jumped on my lap, and he grabs my collar and my shirt, and he's freaking out, and I'm trying to grab this monkey and rip him off me, and this thing's only about 2 feet high, and all of a sudden he grabbed me by my bottom lip, and he's just pulling, and he's trying to bite me, and I got him by the neck, and then finally ended up just smacking his head 3 times against the what do you call it, wooden post in the bar there on the beach. Threw him, and I couldn't believe it, how tough that little bugger was. And he even came back. He wanted to go at me a second round, and I started throwing beer bottles at him.
It's a good thing we always have beer bottles around.
If I looked at the size of that little monkey and what I did, he scared me. That thing was tough.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it afterwards. That monkey couldn't weigh more than 24 pounds. Now, you take a 500 or a 600-pound Sasquatch, there's no way you're going hand-to-hand with that SOB. He's going to snap you or pop your head off like anything.
Wow. Okay, guys. Well, you know what? It's the top of the hour again, so anyone might have to take a piddle. Now's your time to go piddle. We'll be right back, folks.
Get Barry going, because he wants to go out. He's got to go somewhere tonight. Get Barry on.
He's got to come on. Barry will be up with his breaking news story next.
And snow. It's a place where we can go, clubbing baby seals. God, you love the way it feels when you club a baby seal.
just wheels in the sky. Wheels within wheels, all giant. I saw wheels in the sky. I saw lights, and they were spinning. Wheels in the sky. Period. There is only one source that can have wheels in the sky. Wheels in the sky. There's one type of wheel in the sky. Period. Ezekiel chapter 1, wheels in the sky, and nothing else.
This is the Monster Castle Paranormal Radio Show. We explore the paranormal phenomenon with researchers and skeptics from all walks of life and beyond. Fridays and Saturdays, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Visit our website at monstercastleparanormal.com.
All right, and we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is time for Barry to give us the breaking news. All right. I cannot wait. We got to give you this introduction. Monster Castle News, and we have breaking news with Barry Webster.
Yeah, this is Barry Webster.
All right.
Hey, this is Barry. I'm up now. I was actually laying down listening to you guys dozing off, so I'm awake now. Kind of getting ready here. I got a group I'm taking out tonight, so I'll try to make this quick and hopefully it's exciting to you guys.
Oh yeah.
Well, again, I don't know how much Tom or if Tom's mentioned anything at all.
No, he said to take your lead.
Okay, good. Thank you, Tom. You know, the old saying, you know, things happen for a reason. And I think that's what happened in our case. You know, God willing, you know, again, this is a very, we looked at it down here in Nebraska, or our team looks at it as what we'd call a strategic alliance. We're next Friday, we will be meeting. Tom is flying in, him and his wife, partner. They're flying in to meet us down here, and we couldn't be more excited about that because we're teaming up to talk about and to do the contract, make sure it's a win-win for everybody. But we're teaming up to do. I'll say this, Tom, that all kinds of projects. So we're excited about them coming down. What we see it as, and I said strategic because, you know, you have what everybody in Indian country would say it was waiting. People were waiting for this to happen. Darren, I think you guys made mention of it that, wow, we know each other, and it's time. You know, we're gonna venture out with Tom, their production company, and we're gonna produce a documentary / whatever we dream up and put in the contract. So we're excited about it. Again, we couldn't be any happier. You know, we have tremendous faith and trust in Tom and what they do. And, you know, I think we can put this to rest. In fact, we've already put it to rest. We just, you know, I'm not worried about who's still a skeptic and, you know, because you guys can stay stuck in the mud, so to speak. You know, we're moving forward with our research, and we feel like this new partnership with Tom and his group is something that was a dream. So we're excited about it, and you know, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I want to hear what happens.
Oh,
we're gonna.
Is awesome, Nebraska, man. Barry, is that? I'm calling from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Wow.
Okay.
Where are you, Barry?
You should go down.
Yeah, you guys got to hook up. Barry will show you a bloody Bigfoot, man. He will show you Sasquatch. You get him and sneak out at night real quiet, and you'll have and you're gonna piddle your pants.
I wish that were true, but trust me, it's more likely a bear I run into because those are real.
Oh, come on. Open your mind. Just go for a stroll.
No,
Let's go down.
It's open your mind when you see it, you know. And,
go down.
But Barry, is he still there?
Yeah.
Hey, Barry, you mind me asking, where in Nebraska are you?
I'm on the Omaha Tribe of Nebraska reservation here in Mason, Nebraska. If you're in Lincoln, you're probably maybe 2 hours from me.
How about that? Small world. You guys
wow, isn't that strange how I just out of the blue asked you onto the show tonight?
It is
not
weird.
knowing you guys are like neighbors.
Geographically speaking, yeah, basically we are. Well, Lincoln is well, it's just off the Missouri River. Omaha is right on the river, but anyway, that's pretty awesome.
Would you ever consider going?
Yeah, that's cool. 'Cause I know you're a Husker fan too, right?
No, I don't do sports. I'm into science fiction. I'm a geek. I'm into Star Wars, Star Trek, and things like that.
Woo woo.
Oh, I see.
I said you're silly. I was right. I'm just kidding.
You should go over there.
I don't have the opportunity to do it. If it were like a month ago, I probably would have been able to. I can't right now. So,
yeah.
But that'd be awesome. I will definitely look for it. That'd be pretty cool. Say, Barry, can I real quick, guys? Can I ask this? Have you ever? I'm assuming you've been to Lincoln, Barry.
Yes, I have. In fact, my daughter lives down there. I got one of my team members that lives down there, so I've been to Lincoln plenty of times. I got my degree from University of Nebraska.
Okay, well, for those who don't know, Lincoln's it's a big college town. We're about just shy of 300,000. So we're kind of a big small big city, if you will. So so just to give you a feel. Well, have you heard of? So then you would know about Wilderness Park. Then you know what I'm talking about, right? It's basically everyone. Okay. I like to call Wilderness Park kind of Lincoln, Nebraska's Central Park, and I've been to Central Park in New York City. Of course, there's a big difference. In Central Park, it's right in the middle of New York City. Wilderness Park, it runs basically in the southwest quadrant of Lincoln, Nebraska, and it is a very wooded area. It's the closest thing to wood, a forest that we have in the Lincoln metro area. Well, it's a lot of mosquitoes, by the way, so you want to be careful you visit there. Now, I mean, of course, given that Wilderness Park is in a pretty relatively, it's a city, about 300,000 people. So one would speculate that, say, a Sasquatch or Bigfoot or something, a hominid of that nature would be a bit too busy, even in a wooded area like Wilderness Park. So I don't expect to see, even if a Sasquatch exists, I don't expect to see one in Wilderness Park or even Central Park in New York City, where I've also visited as well, because it's just too urban. So that's why I'm saying that if there are any Sasquatch or Bigfoot or such, I would think that would have to be somewhere like the Northwest region, specifically North America, other parts of the world, of course. Of course, you have big cities out there, but you have such a huge geographical swath of forest out there. So
Nebraska.
I don't know what you guys think, Barry, Tom, and everybody else. What you guys think about that?
Oh, I think they're everywhere.
That's a great question, actually. What is the nearest sighting near a city that you guys have heard about?
Right in
the city. For everybody?
Dude, they walked right into their reservation. Right, they were there. They were right wandering around in the houses.
Thomas
throwing things at the buildings.
Vancouver Island, I found we have a city called Duncan where it has Sasquatches habituating the humans, where there's a bottle picker native guy, and he told me that he has to whistle when he daylight when he gets close to a Chinese restaurant after the weekend buffet smorgasbords, because he wants to get to the dumpster because the owners put out big bags of pop cans and bottles and that for his collecting. And when he whistles, it's so that when he gets close to the dumpster, that Sasquatch will bang it, boom, and or make a noise, letting the human know that I'm in the dumpster right now. And he said it was a tall, skinny one that looked old and sickly, but he kind of figures it's dead now. And what that was it's right in the downtown. Like when you go up the Vancouver Island Highway, you drive right by this Chinese restaurant before you get on this bridge, and here there's a Sasquatch coming out and dumpster diving for chop suey and chow mein, I guess. And it's a human has to wait his turn to get his bottle.
I'll be darned.
And then we got him looking in windows in all our Indian reserves and outside of Indian reserves on Vancouver Island. So, there's a reason why I started calling it Sasquatch Island. It's the highest concentration of wood Sasquatch carvings on Earth throughout Vancouver Island, but made by the natives and chainsaw carvers. You see them everywhere. Even downtown Seattle and Vancouver have carvings of Sasquatch called Junaqa. And most people don't realize that. And I started calling, Vancouver Island Sasquatch Island. But now with the Facebook group, it's gotten so popular that I'm coining the indigenous people of North America, calling North America Turtle Island for thousands of years since the dawn of our creations. I'm now calling it Sasquatch Island. It's just for, what I'm doing. And now I'm so honored that I've been, my wife and I have been asked and invited by Rez Squatching, Barry, and his team to go to Nebraska. And I'm just stoked. I hate airplanes. I'm going to be...
I'm so excited.
Man. Just
you
wear
have to let up
hey.
before I get on that plane, I'll tell you that much.
Just wear a crystal
what date is this? I really would like to meet you guys, if that's a possibility.
Next weekend.
Seriously.
It's next weekend. Next weekend, Joseph. Yes.
This is Barry's turf.
Maybe behind the scenes we can direct message each other.
Yeah. No, excuse me. This is Barry. What's your name again?
It's
the Lincoln guy.
It's Joseph Moore, Joseth with a T. It looks like Joseph, but you replace the P with a T. So Joseph, and then Moore, Moore. I have two Twitter accounts. I have the official one, Joseph Moore. I have that. I don't do much there. I just post my science fiction books and my paranormal ebooks. And I don't touch it very well, because I want to just kind of keep it clean. And then I have what you hear Wolfman Mike every now and then. He'll call me Master Mastaba. That's where I can play around a bit, where I talk a lot of politics, and I kind of goof around with Star Wars and things. So I do a lot more with that. And I have more followers on the Master Mastaba. And Mastaba has an H at the end of it. So
he's our
Master Mastaba.
He's our skeptic and our atheist.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, here's what I want to tell you. Here's what I want to tell you. I have a team member. What's that background noise?
Go ahead.
Ain't on here, is he?
Go
ahead.
Could have been ghosts.
No. That was me opening my car door. So because it's quiet in my car right now.
Okay.
I got an article. Hey, Tom.
What I want you to do
is
go ahead first.
Join our page, Res Squatching Research Community, and then I want to hook you up with one of my team members down there. His name is Richard Stoll. This Saturday, he has a group out of, I'm not sure where they're all coming in from, but he has 14 people coming to Lincoln, and he's going to give them a tour of his area and the things that he's been investigating down there. He's got some thick structures, tree structures. He's got an area that he's investigating right now in Lincoln. He talks about, this salt river, or there's a lot of salt down there. And in fact, we have been invited to Lincoln to investigate and ask one of these Bigfoots to leave this old lady alone. Apparently, he's been harassing her down by a creek bed down there somewhere, and we haven't been able to hook up. But I would like to hook you up with Richard Soul because he's doing something Saturday, and you're more than welcome to come up and meet Thomas and I, and I will make you a believer.
No, that's not going to happen. I mean, it's not about being believed to me. But anyway, how do you spell his last name so I can look it up?
Soul, S-O-U-L-E, Richard Soul. He has no image in there.
Okay, I thought you said
but you'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't have a picture
Hey,
of
don't
himself.
worry. You know what? I'll hook you up with Barry's email and his Facebook after the show.
That'd be
anyway.
great, Mike.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I'll give you his number and everything, so you guys can hook up after. I got an article here, and this is have scientists proved Bigfoot is real? Team unveils results of 5 years research, and they say they have his DNA. Trying to get a date. Okay, October. That's kind of old. October 2013. Wonder what happened with that.
Is that from Moods?
Sorry.
This is from. They did an actual. Holy shit! There's pictures here. Sasquatch. Where is it? Dr. Melba Ketchum. They spent over 500,000.
Yeah,
there's footage here. They got footage here. Video footage of a female Sasquatch sleeping. Have you guys ever seen that?
Yeah, and that's what I'm just saying. You got to be very cautious with that one. It's basically 50-50. I'm going to stay on the fence on this one because I haven't really researched it yet. But there has been some negative traffic on that posting and the DNA analysis and everything. So that one, I just let it stew a bit longer and cook itself through to see what happens at the end.
Isn't there some...
Did they not have results yet for the DNA? I think they did, actually. I remember hearing this now. It was found to have human DNA as well as an unknown strain of hominoid.
Yeah, I heard that too.
See, one of the things that I wanted to say with this union, I guess you could say that's about to happen with Barry and his team, with Peggy and I with Sasquatch Island, HamumuAdventures.com. This is unprecedented where two different North American Indians from so far away. We have the Rocky Mountains separating us, and states and a province and an island channel, and here we are going there. You know, we've sat back as Indigenous people, and, you know, we just basically roll our eyeballs and shake our heads in disgust when we hear all of the skepticism over something we know we've existed with since the dawn of our creations throughout Turtle Island. And now,
so wait a minute. Can I ask you, Turtle Island? Is that you mean all of North America, right?
All of North America is referred to as Turtle Island. Mexico,
and now that's what you're calling. I meant to ask you. That's what you're calling Sasquatch Island, all of North America.
Yeah, because every indigenous group throughout it has stories about Sasquatch, Bigfoot, skunk ape, mountain devils, Jersey devils.
Now I get it. I understand your concept now. It's cool. I love it, man. It's awesome.
So what we have taken place is history. This is historic, that two indigenous tribes, actually more than that, because I'm half Cree as well, and I'm sure Barry's got other bloodlines in his team members as well. We're going to join. Sit down. Side. Let me finish here. We're going to do it native way. I'm flying on an airplane out there, and I'm going to sit down at Barry and his tribe's blanket, and we're going to talk to one another. And then we're going to have to kick it up to the modern way, because we have to do it, because we both have basically business ventures, and we have to go back to our territories and put contract together. Once we agree upon it and we're all happy, we'll sign off on it. And we're going to go down a path of cooperation between two Indian tribes that will ultimately recruit even more. And I don't want to use any names, but there's a couple other big players in the Sasquatch Bigfoot community that are North American Indian that want to come on board as well. Sasquatch Island, which is partnered up, as the name of the show, the series, is partnered up with Wild Woman Productions, two native girls that I work with. And we're going to showcase the North American Indians' perspectives, sighting encounters, research tactics, and everything, releasing our evidence. And, you know, we've sat back, and like I say, we've watched the television series banging sticks against trees and scaring off Sasquatches for almost a decade. We've watched countless non-Indians go out there and try to get conclusive proof of these creatures. The Moccasin Telegraph tells me that we have a lot of North American Indians that have conclusive proof. I've sat there in a coastal village and looked at a guy's photograph book and was floored at these crispy, clear images from his bedroom window, his kitchen window, his porch, in this isolated Indian community of perfect pictures of Sasquatch coming into their village. And I'm like, man, you got to release it. And he goes, oh, no, our native custom is we respect them. We would never do that. And I hear this across the board. And I hear from the non-Indian researchers, enthusiasts, podcasters, and the list of television producers, oh, every time we talk to the native people, they just button up and silence up. Well, yeah, because we're like Sasquatches. We've sat back and watched what the non-native has done to Turtle Island since they dropped their first anchor and came and explored our homelands. We've seen the destruction. We've seen the unjust laws. We've seen so many negative things come from it. And we're very cautious to release what we have to the non-natives. Now we see a historic event happening where we're going to sit down at Barry's blanket and we're going to get an agreement in place orally and in contract, and it will snowball effect with other North American Indians throughout Turtle Island. And we will hopefully release to the world, hey, you skeptics, quit your damn whining. Is that crispy and clear enough for you?
No one's whining here. Okay? Hey, I can be a skeptic. It's okay to be a skeptic.
It's okay.
I don't have to believe. If I don't see any proof, I don't have to believe, and that doesn't make me a bad person for not believing something that I don't see.
You're not going to see any proof if you don't go out there.
Why are you so defensive about this?
Get out there.
Bottom line,
boys, settle down. I'll have to get the dungeon master out.
A skeptic. When the bottom line is when this big bush Indian called. Hear me out. When this bush Indian gets you in a headlock and I duct tape you to a tree and smear you with bacon fat and that big Sasquatch comes and licks you clean, you will no longer be a skeptic.
All right. Back to the corners. Hey, Tom and Barry.
Let me say something real quick before you go on. I thought about this and listening to what Tom was saying. I forgot the other guest's name. I'm sorry, guys. What's the other guest's name?
Barry.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Barry. I'm not the best of things. I think I changed my mind about trying to meet you guys. I think it's best to just leave it Native Americans, even though I do have a little bit of Cherokee to my father's side. I know everyone says that, but it's true. Trust me. You should see my late grandmother. But I think it's best that I just step back and let you guys do it as Native Americans.
If I lived in Lincoln, I would be there, Tom. And I would be there, Barry.
I would be there, and I would make sure.
I think it would be best just for some things are just best for the community itself, and I think this is one of those situations. I think it's best just to leave it for the Native Americans. I really do.
I want them to break it. Hey, Tom and Barry, what do you see happening when we prove that they're real? How will it affect everything? What do you guys see 5 years after they prove that they're real?
Peggy and I both work with the North American Primate Conservancy, Todd and Diane Neese out of Mount Hood, Oregon area. And as members of this organization, our belief and mandate is to put protective measures in place for these creatures. Like I say, Turtle Island's being clear-cut, pit-mined, and rivers being altered in their courses and sucked dry for irrigation. We know what happened with the marbled murrelet and spotted owl. I'm not saying blanket protect everything, but we have to have these little enclaves like Indian Reserves Number 1 and parks, and maybe in Canada, First Nations, we've created special use conservancy areas. And we need to create a few more. And we need to look at our virgin forests in unlogged watersheds and unmined watersheds and leave them that way. and identify the creature, and then start putting some protective measures in, because since the maple leaf or clover leaf or whoever, Leif Erikson, whoever came here from Europe first and gets the recognition, I believe the Chinese were here a lot longer than the Europeans ever were. But anyway, when they came and supposedly found this new land and claimed it, there's been nothing but destruction and everything. And people go, why can't we see these Sasquatches? Because they look at us humans and detest. They detest us because of what we're doing to it. And I just want to see some protective measures for these creatures and for our beautiful homelands of Turtle Island, native and non-native. We need to start smartening up. We got to, listen to what some of the people are telling us. And we have to, I think we have the last hope is the identification of an undocumented creature called a Sasquatch Bigfoot. And that's finally probably going to give the wake-up call where we're going to start. And I'm only going to speak for Vancouver Island. It's being clear-cut at an unprecedented level. Our sawmills are closed because the corporations are sending raw logs on ships after ship to China and United States to be milled down there and sold back to us as pallet boards and other things. And we have high unemployment rates because of corporate greed. And hopefully, I have faith that with the North American Primate Conservancy, once we have conclusive proof of the creature's existence, and it's going to come from we North American Indians. I know a lot of us have evidence, and it's by us uniting like we're doing with Barry. And, maybe we're going to finally get people going, wow, they really do exist. Maybe we better start listening to the Indians. And, we have to reflect back when we were children, when we used to watch color TV when it first came out. And I know some of you guys will probably remember, and you can share YouTube it, where they had a picture of the pollution in North America, United States, and this Indian in buckskin, an older man with long braids with graying hair. And as he's looking at the destruction of Turtle Island, a tear comes to his eye and rolls down his cheek. Well, Sasquatch has been doing that since the first sailing ship came here. And, it's up to us to finally do something. The protests that the Indians have been doing of late haven't worked. Look at Standing Rock, to me, it wasn't really that successful. And up in Canada, we have numerous other things that Indians have tried to unite on. But as soon as the cause fizzles out, everyone goes home and back to work and nothing's done. And, this Sasquatch Bigfoot, I think, is the final equation that once it's confirmed, we're finally going to get what we need, protection of some of Turtle Island. And the creature.
It's the bottom of the hour, guys. It's time to piddle. Here we go. We will be right back.
All right. Yeah. Can you dig it? Fantastic.
It's your invitation to avoid the nauseation, frustration, desolation, mutilation, degradation. We like to rock, and this is a donation station. Yeah, baby. Go to monstercastleparanormal.com and donate today. Keep us rocking, man.
What?
Go to our website and follow us there. If you make a donation, every dollar will be put into a 50-50 draw. You could be our next winner. Follow us on Spreaker.com or get the mobile app, the Spreaker podcast app, and follow Monster Castle Paranormal and Dirty Mountain Taro. Wolfman Mike 47 on Spreaker and Skype for calls, and in Twitter as well. And join us in the hashtag 47Talk for live interaction in Twitter. Alright, yeah. Make a call to the station at Wolfman Mike 47 on Skype, 775-990-8447 in the United States, and 226-271-3466 in Canada. Thank you, and shut up, Melvin Spacely. I'm trying to do a commercial here. Alright, yeah. Fantastic.
if I can just say something. It's like a big bully is what you are, Wolfman. You're defending the cushion eject. I would literally beat your ass right now, Wolfman. The fuck? You make me all sad. Back when I was a kid, man, I was so happy when I got a damn boom box. One of them big things that had two speakers on the side. I put it on my shoulder and I throw out some cardboard and try to act like I was breakdancing. And then I got showed up by these little bastards come up there and they got the same boom box, but it's got, when they press eject, it's got cushion eject. When I pressed my eject, the tape just shot out. Theirs came out slowly. And they had other things to adjust the treble, the bass, the left to right speaker for the mono speakers. But it all sounded fucking same. And they're sitting there screwing with their shit for 30 fucking minutes. When I could put a tape in, I could press play, and I could play dance, and I could stop it. I could eject the tape, and it would fly out there, and I could change another fucking beat. And these jackasses over here messing with their cushion eject and their treble bass line. Fuck you guys. That's what you're doing, man. You're fucking the slave to the fucking technology. You're buying into this bullshit. If you had fucking brains, if you had any old school in you, you could do it like we used to do it. Just press play. Enjoy the eject button. It shoots the shit out. You don't need the cushion eject. You lost your old school. You turned into Britney fucking Spears here. It'd besmirching your name. Call yourself Wolfman. You fucking sell out, and you make all these excuses for bullshit reasons for your cushion eject. I go back to the town in Oklahoma where I was at. If I see those little cushion eject bastards, I'll beat their ass.
Welcome to Sasquatch Island.
They had the cushion eject, and they see people look down at me like I was lower class. You son of a bitch up in your high horse with your cushion eject. It's convenient now that you're a grown man that you can afford to not buy the fucking cushion eject, but you laugh at us, the people that didn't have it. I wish this time you wouldn't have taken my damn call. I was just starting to like you too, damn it, Wolfman.
My Facebook group that shares with you information about the First Nations perspective, the Kwakwakiwak, which I belong to, a nation from northern Vancouver Island. But I share with you our perspectives to the
Hey, that
Sasquatch
sounds like you,
Bigfoot
Tom.
on Vancouver Island, aka Sasquatch Island, where this footprint right here was cast, and Dr.
Is this
John
your show?
Bitternagel gave me this one, and
It was
one of 5.
What do you call it? One of the guys on podcasting got a hold of me that there was some television production looking for an Indian host for their Sasquatch show. So
wow.
I did a sizzler reel in our kitchen there, set up all of our little Sasquatch trophies.
That's pretty good, man.
Oh, thanks a lot. I had a lot of fun. Peggy's a good camera lady.
Yeah. I was looking for the commercial. Darren's talking about a commercial. Do you have a commercial for your TV show coming up?
Yeah, if you just go to YouTube and type in Tom Sewid, you'll come up with all kinds of sizzlers for different shows. I used to have a television series called Aboriginal Adventures Canada. It was a travel show. I dressed up like in West Coast Native attire and went and I felt
that's what I'm on that. That's what I'm looking at right now.
I've done so many different things. It's just white man's magic. TV
Mysteries of Ancient Clam Gardens. Yeah.
Yeah, I talk about Sasquatch on that one. Clam gardens are what we call lochiwe in my language, and our people have built them for thousands of years, and they're still out there throughout the coast, all the different tribes in Pacific Northwest on the coast, and it helps clams grow in high abundance and good yield. And just like a potato patch, you go down and harvest your clams, and when you find a boulder or rock, you throw it into the lochiwe, the walls, the clam garden, the rock walls and berms. And we've known about it since dawn of our creation. It was just actually the last 15, 20 years where the ologists came out with their capital D, small r period before their name on their business cards and said, hey, we have a theory. And we just shook our heads and rolled our eyes because their theories are way out in left field. And we said, no, they're lochiwes or clam gardens. And this is what they are. And now they're trying to protect them, and we're still using them. They're clam gardens. And that's where the Sasquatch comes to get their food, male and female. And of course, our small one, it's not a Sasquatch. It's from the spiritual realm known as Bukwas. And it likes to eat joli, which are cockles, a type of shellfish that's really tasty. And you'll see on Sasquatch Island, post of the day today was actually on the Bukwas, how it's not our Sasquatch. It's a different creature altogether from the spiritual realm. It's said to be bipedal, smaller than a human, like 3 or 4 feet high, and covered in hair. And it's kind of, interesting because in my travels and communications with people throughout Turtle Island, I hear about them talking about the little people. And just last weekend, Peggy and I went to Puyallup and met with a tribe member down there and his wife. And man, they started telling us stories about the stick people, the little ones. And man, it was just amazing. So I guess that's their version of the Bukwas. And even up in the Arctic and Northwest Territories, when I lived there for a year in 2015 and 2016, I heard numerous stories about the little people up there, and also the big one called Naga, the Sasquatch up there. So it's pretty interesting.
Really interested in the little people.
Don't even know.
I'm wondering if the little people is the same thing that they would call fairies or like leprechauns or, these mythical creatures that in other countries say that they gnomes or whatever, elves.
I think we got to respect each other's culture, number one, and we have to look at it, with non-skeptical vision, and not for everyone, mind you, but for us that do, sort of, accept on a respectful level that, people talk about leprechauns. Maybe it is what the native people are talking about, these little people, stick people, Bukwas. We don't know. We don't even know about the Sasquatch. There's so many hurdles out there that we have to overcome, or do we overcome? And right now I'm on Sasquatch.
Yeah, I heard that those little people can disappear. Like disappear and reappear. I don't know if that's true. What you say there's from the spiritual realm. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's the Bukwas is the keeper of the ghost world. If you drowned, you've made a mistake. You shouldn't have traveled in your canoe or your boat during those weather conditions or tide conditions, or inebriated and you went out on a boat and you drowned. You made a mistake as a human, as a mariner, and your spirit goes to the ghost world that Bukwas commands, from what I understand. And I guess it's sort of like a punishment, I guess. But if you get lost in the forest and you get scared, cold, you're all mixed up and you're running eventually, and panic and fear and hunger. And eventually you're going to get tired, so you curl up and go to sleep. And that's when Bukwas has been watching you, they say. And while you're sleeping, he's going to come put out a piece of bark or a stick or whatever, flat stick, piece of wood. And when you wake up, you'll see these beautiful, delectable foods like smoked fish and hunt, which is herring eggs and berries and other things. That's ghost food. You're not supposed to give in to your weakness, your fears and temptation. And all of a sudden you do give in, you start eating it, and this beautiful, delectable foods, all of a sudden you notice in your hands as your stuff in your mouth is now turned into maggots and slugs and salamanders, and you start spitting it out, but it's too late. You've given in to weakness and temptation. Piddle yourself, and then all of a sudden you're now captured because you ate the ghost food.
Oh, that's really true.
But in all reality, just so I can finish here on that one, it's a teaching tool for us in the modern day. So if all of a sudden life's getting you down, and your partner and your marriage, your relationship is getting you down, and your finances is getting you down, and all of a sudden you give in, you start drinking a little bit more. Maybe you give in, start taking a toke here and there. Maybe you give in to a snort here. Maybe you really give in and start shoving a needle in your arm, or gambling. Well, you've given into your weaknesses. You've given into addiction, temptation. You've taken and sampled the Bukwas, the ghost food. Now, all of a sudden, you're all screwed up. You're addicted to gambling, or you're a drug addict, or you're a stark raven elkie, and you're stealing to feed your addiction. And now your family casts you out from the home you've always known love and warmth and food and security. And you're out in the street in the rain and the cold, and you're looking at the lights from your home, and you know you can't go to the door and open it, and you're not going to knock on it because they don't want you. They cast you away because of your weakness.
Yeah, and you got to piddle behind a tree.
There you go. But the bottom line is, in all seriousness, and
yes,
and your listeners should understand this. It's Kwak-Walk-You-Walk belief about the Bukwas and temptation and giving in your weakness, and the Bukwas symbolizes that. And it's a warning that I heeded many years ago, and thank God I did. And I was never cast from my family's home because I dummied up. I basically woke up and smelled the coffee and said, Tom, smarten up. You're going down a negative path, and it's just going to be a deep, dark abyss if you keep going. And I chose to walk away and step off that path.
Nice. Is Barry gone? Is he out squatching or?
Here.
Okay, good. Hey, can I ask you and Tom, have you guys ever run into friendly Bigfoots? I mean, especially you, Tom. It seems like they've always been kind of aggressive. Are there friendly Bigfoot?
If I could go back to my 2-minute encounter. We actually named him. He's an older, skinnier, gray one. He actually he was very calm. He just kind of an old guy. One of my grandpas ran into him, walked about 6 feet. They crossed paths, and I actually ran into him. And to me, that was kind of a great moment because one of my grandpas saw him. Now I saw him. Now, I have, what we believe that is a relationship with him, and he's really calm, doesn't make a fuss, doesn't really make a lot of noise. He just kind of, he's the one that walked right up to us. And
he trusts you.
I have. There are some calm, gentle experiences, encounters.
That's good. Tom, you haven't talked about your third encounter. Didn't you leave gifts for one or something?
Yeah, we left garlic out for one, and it would take it. We'd take a empty glass. We had an outside kitchen, just basically a tarp between two trees and a couple planks nailed down for the cook stoves and our coolers and that. And we kept having garlic disappearing. And, because we're eating prawns, big shrimp, crab, and, you got to have garlic for the butter. And I'd give the crew heck. I'm like, quit leaving the garlic out. The frickin' mice are taking them. And they're like, one of my crew is like, it's not the mice. I'm like, what do you mean it's not the mice? Well, I went to grab a snack, and there was mice all over the table, and there's garlic cloves there, and they weren't even paying any attention to it. And, finally I'm starting to wonder what's up. And we've seen our place where we're building these cabins for my tribe's sea kayak camp. We're building 5 big cabins there in 2013, 2014. I started seeing the bushes around the camp, getting trails opening up and trampled down. And I'm like, we're being probed here. And it's not bears because they rip open coolers and all that and bust into the pop cans that were full and, puncture them and that wasn't happening. And then all of a sudden, that's when we said, okay, and I took the garlic and I told the 2 crew, I said, okay, watch this. And I grabbed a clear tumbler, a big glass, and I put the garlic clove underneath it, upside down the glass. When we went back to the picnic table between 2 of the cabins, and we had a wood stove set up outside for heat. And we were just sitting there playing cards and BSing away. And one of the guys went to get a can of Coca-Cola. He comes back, he goes, the garlic's gone. This is like not even 10 minutes. So we all go heading over there and look, and sure enough, the glass is upside down and nothing's in it. The garlic's gone. And so I'm like, oh, come on now, you moved it. He's like, no, I'm serious, I didn't. So we put another garlic clove there, and all 3 of us went and basically just kept 6 on each other. And 20 minutes later, we're like, well, let's go check. We went and checked, and lo and behold, the glass was empty again. And I'm like, holy. That's when we knew we had something up. And then it sort of progressed. I was telling them, and I was teaching them the bush skills, hunting. These are 2 concrete Indians that our tribe members that I'm teaching about the bush, and I'm teaching them what to look for. And we found one area where we had a big, huge blue tarp between the trees, and we had all of the cedar wood and fir wood for building these cabins under there. We live in a rainforest. It rains out here. Us Indians don't tan, we rust. That's how we get our nice brown color. So, we kept keeping the wood dry, and that's where the generator is and the compressor for the air guns and that, building these cabins. And behind it, there's an area that's the grass and the ferns were just flattened. And I had to get a plastic crate, and bring it over. And I stood on it to elevate myself, almost 2 feet in height. And, I'm only like 5'10" on a good day, I guess. So, I'm up around, 7 feet now. And my eyes can look over top of the tarp and right into where our main camp is, where our picnic table is and our cabin we were staying in. And I'm thinking, that son of a bitch, this is where he's keeping 6 on us. He's standing here hidden by the bushes and by that blue tarp. And that son of a bitch is standing behind this alder tree, and he's eyeballing us as we're going about our business in the camp during the day and evening. And we started looking around even further and finding more evidence that something was amiss. And we had this non-native carpenter, and, he was always smoking pot. And I told him, I said, you're on Indian reserve, and I don't smoke pot, and I don't want my 2 crewmen anywhere near it or using it.
Oh, that leads to a question from the chat room, Tom.
Yep.
She's asking, Paisley's asking, do you walk the red road?
I don't know. I walk black asphalt.
Yeah.
She thought you might know what that means.
On the red berry, do you know what that means?
I think, sobriety and alcohol and drug-free lifestyle, I guess, would be to answer that real quick.
Yeah, that's what
I do.
That's what it means, yeah.
I'm drug-free. I drink the odd wine, the odd tequila, but, I don't.
I think that would be a yes then, Paisley. Yeah.
Who's that laughing in the background, Tom? Is that your partner? What's her name?
Gave it all away right there.
Peggy. Nice.
Hello.
Hi, Peggy.
Hi.
Welcome to the castle.
Has Peggy ever seen Sasquatch?
No. And when I first dated Tom, I have to tell you this. When I first dated Tom, I kind of plucked him off the beach of the Vancouver Island, in his Broughton Archipelago, because I was a sea kayaker. I was one of them. I'm not one of those granola kayakers. I eat meat. Anyway, so he comes back to my place down here in Kent, and so I started, thinking, gosh, this guy is great, and he's just digging this life down here. And then for some reason, I asked him about the time when we were outside up in the Broughtons in Village Island. There was
on the float house.
On the float house. And we were just, it was dark. And we were out there just having a nice wine, candlelight. And then he all of a sudden perks up like land claims, like, you smell that? He's right over there. And I go, smell what? And he goes, what smell? That's the big fella. And he goes, have you smelled? And I said, I sniffed and I go, oh, I've smelled that before. He goes, you have? Where? And it's just all of a sudden got real serious, Before we were just like grooving and beautiful. It's all quiet. And he's like, where have you smelled that smell? Like, well, I think a kayak, and I kayak by myself a lot of times because I don't know, everyone's just kind of a lot to take care of. So I think I smelled it at kayak. And he's like, well, it's right over there on the point. And he's pointing out in the darkness. And he's like, he's right there. And I'm like, holy crap, you're kidding me, right? And I was just kind of funny, excited, kind of hysterical, laughing like this can't be true because I'm from the city. I've never I really didn't know what he was talking about. And he goes, I got to get my gun. And again, from being from the city, never being near a gun, this was freaking me out. And he goes running into the whatever, the float house, grabs a gun, and I see this huge rifle-like thing, and I'm like, oh my God, this is serious.
He grabbed the big one.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. So here I am trying to, I am just like a cartoon, you know, with the legs going, not getting anywhere. And he goes, go in the float house. Like, oh, okay. And so I try to get in there, and there's a step I didn't know, and just like a girl.
Pass over tea kettle.
No, yeah, just like those old shows, you know, the black and whites, you know, the girl always falls and twists her ankle, ass over tea kettle. That was me, and I'm laughing hysterically, realizing that I'm that girl. And we go in, he slams the door, and he goes, we're staying in. You know, okay, right, fine. Anyway, let's reel forward. He's in Kent, and then finally I asked him, now that we got a chance to sort of like decide our future together, and here I said, do you believe in Bigfoot? And he says, absolutely. And then all of a sudden it was like I was in a dilemma. This man I'm going to dedicate my life to believes in Bigfoot. So yeah. I just like, I didn't know what to think. And so I've been just going along with it. But the more and more bushers I've met out there in his territory, and the fishermen and the loggers, you know, I'm getting the feeling that, yeah, they really exist. And so the experience with that island, that one experience that he just last told you about, you know, I remember hearing it from my cube. I'm in the office, and he's telling me from the night what happened that night in the morning, you know, and everyone around my cube is listening because they just love it when I get like messages from Tom, and they're just like, what's going on? Anyway, so I have to see this thing, and we've gotten so close to getting up north to go see him, and that's where the only place where we knew, like in late September, to go up to that same place.
Yeah.
But thank goodness we met Barry over virtual, and we're going to meet him in person, and there is like a no-brainer. Yes, sir. It's like a no-brainer. We're going to meet him. So
well, you better get back. You better get back to us.
Exactly. Oh, you can bet on it. So, Barry, right. I am looking so forward. And when Barry, I came in today, Tom and Barry were talking, and Barry's like, I want to see this thing face to face. And I'm thumbs upping because I think I prepared myself. Because whenever Barry brings somebody close to one of those things, and I don't mean to say it derogatory. I mean, I'm still transitioning.
Barry, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Are you there?
Yeah, okay. I'm here. Hey, guys, I'll take one more. Excuse me, Wolfman. I got to take one question. I got to get running, so go ahead.
Okay, this one I wanted to ask you for a while. I hear a lot about teen suicides and stuff in the reservations, and wondering if that's true, and maybe is your research giving them new inspiration and maybe some giving some light in the darkness there?
Well, I don't know if we've been able to prove that or get some empirical data or any hard evidence, but I do know this, that it has sparked some interest. You know, we sometimes will take high school kids out, and so I believe there will be some impact, and I think it has impacted youth. And in fact, we started a scholarship fund, and we donate some of that to, you know, our scholarship fund. Anytime you come out, you know, we ask people to donate to our scholarship fund. So yeah, we are using, you know, Situnga, which is Bigfoot in our language. We are, you know, trying to reach youth and impact them. So I like that question, Wolfman. So yeah, I do believe it has.
Yeah, because it shows a lot of people are really caring and worried, in the chat room here.
Yeah. Well, worried about what?
Oh, just we're hearing all these horror stories about the native kids, teens committing suicide in these smaller communities and reserves. All over the place.
That happens, all over. But and yes, I do agree. Some reservations have it a little harder than others. And can I give you a good answer? I don't know, but what I will say is that we're trying to impact youth in our area.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, that's great news. Anyway, if you look at it that way, I think what you're doing is, you're providing an inspiration to the youth.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and someone's got to take over. You're going to get some that are really interested in it, and you'll have to train some of the young warriors into how your techniques and they can move on.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome, man. Okay,
Tom.
Yep.
It's the top of the
Are you
hour.
going to bring a gun next weekend?
I'm not allowed to have one in the United States. I don't have my dual citizenship yet, but
no, I find that hard to believe. You're not going to be out there with a gun.
One.
What about Barry? Barry, do you carry a gun when you go out there? Barry?
Repeat that again?
Do you carry a firearm when you go out bigfooting?
No, I don't.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, like up my territory, I carry one, but it's not for the aggressive Sasquatches. It's for the bears or the cougar. Our area's got a lot of critters up there, and and it's good to have one out there anyway. If you get boat drifts away, you got to have something to go hunting with and start your fire with. So it's good to have a gun. But I never bring one for a Sasquatch. We're not allowed to. It's against our law and custom to ever disrespect or try to harm one. So, no, I don't bring guns for them. I bring guns for, just protection from other animals. But when Peggy was out with me that time, the reason I went for my gun is we had that son of a bitch throwing rocks at our float house about 4 or 5 days before she got there. Me and my crewman that were out there were having pebbles at first. It was all fun and ha-ha until all of a sudden the pebbles turned into rocks and the rocks turned into boulders bouncing off my metal roof. So that's why I wanted to get a gun. I didn't know what was about to happen.
Wow. This is going to be exciting to find out what happens.
Yeah,
Barry,
don't get me wrong, Darren. It hasn't, a couple times, and my brothers had some really aggressive encounters. So it's crossed my mind to take a gun several times. So, it all depends. And the other thing is we don't have bears. So, that's why we don't worry about it too much.
But you have a fairly large population of Sasquatch there, don't you?
Yeah, I would say so. I believe this, again, it goes back to the approach, it's all a matter of how you approach them,
Okay. Well, this will be interesting without guns.
Yeah, you go in like a dumbass, he's going to treat you like a dumbass,
You guys are gonna be piddling yourselves.
Oh, drink up.
Oh no, we've been around him long enough, especially Barry and myself. It's just you go in there, sure things might go sideways and squirrely on us, but it's all fun and games and part of the bush. It's what separates us from the concrete camo-clad surfer out there on their computer that's opinionated on everything we people that get our boots muddy do. But getting our boots dirty, we know that it's bush. Things happen, and that's all. That's what drives us. It's beautiful being out there.
That's wild. We are at the top of the hour. Do you guys want to take a break here, or you just want to keep on chatting? What do you
I
want
got
to
a
do?
piddle.
I have to piddle also.
Right. We will be right back, folks. How was that, man? That was the most peaceful break I think I've ever given you guys, from a listener's perspective. No commercials, nothing, just absolutely calming meditation music. How was that?
Awesome. I loved it.
You said it was makeout music.
Is that what Peggy said? We are joined with Jeff the Gray. He is here.
Hey, Darren. How's it going?
You have any questions?
Right on. How's it going, Jeff?
Well, my question was not really a question, but if you were out there, looking for the Sasquatch, and would it be a bad idea to wear garlic around your neck, or would they come after you and try to eat you?
You come out with me, we'll test that one out. We'll put a stringer on.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll stay here.
Yeah, they like to test it on like skinny little short white guys.
It might keep away the vampires, but I might be a tasty midnight snack for the Sasquatch.
I wonder what they do with the garlic.
Well, out in Pacific Northwest, in my region, Northern Vancouver Island, we have 3 strains of wild garlic out there. So it's just a food source of them. And they smell just like our garlic.
Sounds delicious.
We still have Barry?
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a serious question about the reservation system in America? I want to know, how is it, and can we make it better? I mean, I've never been on a reservation. I don't know what it's like to live on one.
I think Tom knows more about the Canadian system. Barry would know about the American.
I think out of respect for Barry and myself, I think it's, we're Sasquatch Bigfoot focused. I think we should keep it focused at that.
Yeah,
our
I agree.
Personal social systems and our politics, that doesn't adhere to this podcast.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
I'm sorry I asked it then.
You can email me though. I'd be glad to talk to you about it, and phone me. I'd be glad to talk about it.
All right.
Yeah, we only have 47 minutes left. So.
Whoa, boy. Pick that one. Yeah, I've done some work with a couple reservations myself, and it's everyone is different. Everyone.
So what do you mean, Bigfoots? Every Bigfoot is different?
Every Bigfoot, no, yeah.
Let's stick to the Bigfoot.
Yeah,
some of them,
I didn't mean to get all serious on you guys.
Okay, the one in the photo I was looking at from that article, it had sort of reddish brown hair. Is that accurate to you guys?
Go ahead, Barry.
I guess I don't have access. I'm not at my computer right now, so I don't know
I just
what you're
mean,
looking at.
like the reddish brown colored hair. Is that the kind, or what color's the hair in the area where you're citing them, Barry?
Yeah.
What?
You think it's different than Tom's?
We did identify those, and again, it goes along with we're still learning, and we don't know everything yet, but we've identified. In fact, Thursday, this past Thursday, a gentleman, in fact, one of my nephews was riding his quad runner, and about 20 feet in the timber while he was mushroom hunting, one was actually running alongside of him, and I got to interview him, and I actually went to the location, and he described it as being black, and toward the end or around his chest, he said it was actually gray. So I haven't seen that one yet, but that's what he reported. And my brother has, he saw quite a few of them, and he thinks, and I believe him, that there are 5 different colors here on our reservation. So they are different colored. Again, we need to just keep plugging away. I don't know if we'll ever figure out if they change color during the seasons or what they do, but we've identified 5 different colors.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead.
I want to know how fast they can run. I mean, it sounds like they can go at a pretty quick pace.
It was the interesting thing. He allowed me to talk about this, but we have a hunter, and he hunkered himself down, sat up next to a tree, and it must have been, he said, dusk, and he actually saw one up in his what do they call those? I'm not a hunter, but he sat up in
tree stand.
What do they call?
Tree stand, or no?
No, not his tent, but he crawled up into his. Geez, it's just right at the tip of my tongue. Anyway, he sat there, and he actually watched one chase a deer down this hill, and he said it was very fast. It actually ran a little awkward, but it was right on the tail of this deer. Then the deer turned and ran right by him, and his heart was pumping. So they moved pretty fast. Even the Thursday sighting, my nephew said that he ran very fast. In 3 steps, he was gone.
I also have a question about the color again from the chat room here. Is the color of the Sasquatch due to location of living, or do you think the color can show more about dominance or something else? And that's from Jennifer Ann in Spreaker
As a
chat
hunter, speaking from my region and my research, it's all regional specific up here. So in the rainforest, we have a lot of dark shadow, black shadow areas, and a lot of green foliage, which is right to the ground. But when I look at other places in Turtle Island, especially where there's coniferous trees, where the leaves are falling and they're brown and yellows and everything, and I see the videos and the pictures and that, I see a lot of reds. You don't hear a lot of reports of the reddish colored ones up in our northern Vancouver Island region. It's more to the dark brown, blacks, a little bit of white patching here and there, and the odd report of older white-haired one. So I think it's definitely regional specific. And, if you look at grizzly bears, they're the same way. Their colors are sort of attributed to the regions that they live in. It's just the bush law, nature's code, and that's the way I look at it.
Tom, I've got a question from Apocalypse in the chat. He's wondering, are Bigfoot more closely related to humans, do you think, or gorillas, or 50-50?
I'm leaning towards gorillas. And the reason for that is because I've sat down with pencil and paper and ran the pros and cons and the data points. And when I looked at it afterwards, I'm just like, yeah, it's leaning towards a big gorilla. When you read I've read, my fair share of books, Diane Fossey, Jane Goodall, and others on their primate research. And it's just, to me, it just keeps coming up. It just seems more primate gorilla than it does humanoid. But then again, aren't we a primate too? So, I'm not going to get into the scientific duking it out to exactly what it is and digging my heels in and making a stand. I'm just going to say that personally, I think it's leaning towards the gorilla category.
Interesting.
And also, Moog Boy's question: are they solitary beings or pack animals? Has there been any mass Bigfoot sightings? And I believe Barry's already told me that yes, he heard a whole pack of them singing. Isn't that true, Barry?
Yeah. Actually, it was Derek who explained that to you.
Oh, yes, that's right, Derek. Big D.
Yeah.
How many do you figure was singing? Wow.
What's that?
How many, Barry, did he say were singing at that one time?
Well, he didn't really say how many, but you could actually hear them trying to mimic what we were singing. So
wow.
Again, we could go in depth about, do they, are they, trying to relate back to us in our own language, So anyway, that's a broad, that's a tough.
Okay, well,
more research.
I remember this very clearly when I asked him about this, and Big D said to me that there was more than one family of them. It was a whole group, like maybe a possible migration or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in more than one family. And it was like you could hear the rumble of a whole bunch of voices from them. It was massive.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that the males and females have totally different roles?
Yes, I think they're definitely, from what I see, especially at night with the spotlight off my fish boat, I saw male dominance hierarchy, because after he pushed that tree down, when him and his mate went into just speculating it was his mate, but more than likely, when they went into the bush and he pushed that rotten tree down, when he came back out half hour, 20 minutes or whatever it was later, and he walked across the flats at low tide of that bay we're anchored in, and then skirted along parallel in my boat at anchor, and then he was within 65 yards of us. After he went back into the bush and we had the spotlight on him, turned the spotlight off, and all of a sudden he whistle chirped, and then a higher pitched whistle chirp came, probably 800 yards away further in the island. So to me, that was, a big male telling his mate, hey, look, like I did with Peggy, get in the float house. It was doing the same thing. You get in the bush. I'm going to go check out this big, huge, stinky chunk of wood with smell of diesel and lights on. And when when I call back to you, tell me where you are, and I'll meet up with you further in the bush. So, and some of the other things I've seen with that, I'm seeing that there's definitely that hierarchy. I'm not going to say they're as extreme as the Muslims, but, there's definitely that male-female separation and what their roles are as far as a family group.
Whistling's interesting. Yeah. I don't know if do primates whistle like that? I mean, they kind of talk to each other, but do they whistle?
Do you remember that show called The Gods Must Be Crazy?
Yeah, but that wasn't real.
Remember the little African bushman?
Yeah.
How he whistle chirped when he talked?
Yeah.
Well, when I've heard our Sasquatches communicating, that's one form of communication when they're in close proximity to each other. When I used to be putting my fingers in my ears in my trailer on that village island and going, la, 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 I don't hear nothing. Go to sleep, Tommy. Because these damn buggers are outside my trailer around the wild plum trees, because it used to be an old homestead, and you can read about it in Totem Poles and Tea, a book about the Owens farm. That's where my 26-foot trailer was, where I put it. And these buggers would come out at nighttime, and then, they'd be picking the plums. And they'd be whistle chirping, and it always reminded me of that lip flap chirping language that always reflect to The Gods Must Be Crazy, that little bushman. It just sounded just like that, but louder and with bigger lips.
So it sounds like they're
kidding. That's just
no.
I wonder what Barry hears.
So it's different than chimpanzees or gorillas, that's for sure, because they have a little bit more communication skills.
What I've heard this,
Barry?
Yeah, I've heard this chattering. This is Wolfman. I've heard this chattering, and I've heard it from Barry sending me clips privately. It almost sounds like guttural Japanese, but yeah, like there's chirping in there and squelching and really high-pitched noise too.
They have a language. That's the way I look at it. What about you, Barry? You think they got a language?
You bet. That's something we have, a lot of audio on, and one of them is and it never fails. Every time we get close enough, then we start to hear the communication, the warning signs, and it's really neat how they work together. And all, we don't panic. We just sit there in awe and go, wow, look, they're communicating, and they're really, I think everybody says it, they're intelligent beings. Well, these suckers are some badass dudes in timber. You're not going to catch them. You're not going to kill them. They're far superior than we ever can imagine.
Well, they're definitely elusive.
Well, in our area,
oh yeah,
our area, a certain time of the year, which I'm always looking forward to, and I'll be out there again end of September, beginning of October, when they come down out of the salmon rivers and after the alpines, they come out and reestablish themselves in the Broughton Archipelago, which is basically a labyrinth of about 1,000 islands or more. And you see the totem pole carvings and welcoming pole carvings of the Junakwa, the wild woman of the woods, with her puckered up lips. And some you see with the hands in front of these puckered up lips. And what it's all about, our people are referring to what they hear and heard for thousands of years, that whoop, whoop, whoop. And I've heard it. It's them calling between island to island. And when they get an answer, all of a sudden there's a third answer. And you can just imagine it's like a bunch of us, with our partners and buddies walking into a bar, and you look in the far corner, there's a buddy area, and you're yelling at the top of your lungs, "Hey, Bob, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?" That's what they're doing. And then you converge in one bar table, and you're all talking, or a bingo table, or a restaurant table. And that's what I think is happening in my region, is they're hollering, and all of a sudden they get a reply, and then they're swimming from island to island. Yeah, they swim. Everything with fur and a heartbeat swims in the animal kingdom. And then when they meet up, they're like, "Hey, where were you this summer?" "Oh, I was up on the mainland of the inlets and up in the Alpines there." "Where were you?" "Oh, I was up on top of Vancouver Island." And that's my region, I think, is happening. And that's why my people, the Kwakwaka'wakw, have always carved these puckered up lips. And you'll see it on our dance floors. And it's that whoop, 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 how they, it's like us whistling to someone, getting acknowledgement. To me, is that a language? No, it's just acknowledgement. "Hey, are you out there?" "Yeah." And then they get together, and that's where one of my cousins, he's no longer with us, but I remember when he went in, I was anchored in my bay that time we had the sighting. 2 nights later, he comes in on a speedboat, and he has a non-native guy with him, and about a 200-pound halibut in their boat. He pulls up to my fish boat, and, "Hey, look at my big halibut, Tommy." And we're talking away, and he's like, "I'm going to stay in your trailer tonight, eh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know. You've been staying in there quite a bit. Go right ahead, man. That's what it's for. Use it." He goes there, and, I didn't want to say anything to him because he had this non-native with him. It might have been a paying client. I didn't want to scare the willies out of him, but Sasquatch.
He might fiddle himself.
No.
Well, paying clients is, you don't want to be scaring them off. They don't pay you or tip you. So anyway, they go to the trailer, and we're in the boat, and all of a sudden, a couple hours later, there's my cousin with his flashlight poking away inside the trailer. The next thing you know, it's pointing out the windows, and it's pointing out the door. And I never seen him again for about 3 or 4 months. And when I saw him on the dock in Alert Bay, I'm like, "Hey, your flashlight was going pretty crazy that night after you got to the trailer. What happened?" "Them goddamn things, Tommy. Chatter, 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 chatter. Try to go to sleep. Chatter, 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 chatter. They're all around the camper. Chatter, 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 chatter." And, and I'm just like, "Aren't you scared of them?" What are you be afraid of them for? All they do is chatter, chatter, chatter. Sometimes they come and bang the trailer or give it a shake. He goes, they're not going to do you any harm. Just don't look at their eyes. That's all he said.
Huh. Are we at the break? I heard music.
Oh, no. No, I've just put a little bit of background sound in.
Okay. Hey, Tom, what is the best story you've heard that wasn't yours?
Actually, we're supposed to. Come to think of it, Darren, you're right. It is break time. It's 30 minutes left. You were right. It is break time.
I'll ask that again. Okay.
Yeah, save it for after. I'm going to go. That's funny you said that. Wow. All right.
Well, let's look at the time.
All right, everybody. It's piddle time. It's piddle time. Piddle time.
Real.
Oh, yeah.
Tom, this is the one. You're in this one. You listening? Tom?
You see ghosts, you talk about them, aliens, talk about them. Are you kidding me, Wolfman? You literally had ghosts calling on a ghost box. But you're going to lose a lot of credibility. Lake Monster gobble you up in one fucking bite. I'm calling you out, my friend. You were scared of the girl from Texas. Well, I sure wouldn't be sitting there admiring the rippling, glistening fucking muscles of the fucking marsupial. fuel.
She was hairier than a Sasquatch.
Oh my goodness. Who in the world are you? Hollering like that. Angry as life. Do your neighbors hear you? You must live in the forest for you to yell that loud.
The Monster Castle. Paranormal Radio.
Witnesses have described it as not quite right.
Right. The wolf pack.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
I'm only over here because I heard your sweet fucking voice on the phone.
Yeah. Cushion eject. Does your cassette mechanism make a terrible sound like this when you open it? Well, we got something better for you. We got cushion eject today. We could get some funny sounds like that when it pops out. It will be slow and smooth. Cushion eject is the best in ejection mechanisms for any tape cassette. And we can install cushion eject today. Use called KTEL. More cushion for the pushing, baby. Yeah. More cushions for the pushing with cushion eject. All right.
Monster Castle. Paranormal Radio. Monster Castle Paranormal Digital Radio.
We are back. All right. Yeah.
All right. Tom, do you remember the question?
That was my final interruption for your piddling pleasure.
So you want the best story I've heard?
Yes, that wasn't yours. It's the best you've ever heard.
Barry, you're still with us?
Yeah, my crew's about ready, so
I'll make it short.
Be leaving here any second, so
I'll make it short. This one's for you. My sister went and met with this old lady at her house, and she was just talking to her, and she was part of the Coast Salish tribe of southeastern Vancouver Island. And the subject of Sasquatches came up. And this old lady, she said that her father went deer hunting up in the forest, and he fell down and he broke his leg, and he was basically dragging himself with his 30-30, and he knew he was basically pooched, a broken leg, miles inland, and he was doing his damnedest crawling to try to get out of the forest and try to get back home or to some humans. And all of a sudden he could tell something was walking around him, and he started speaking in his language, asking for help. And all of a sudden this big Sasquatch male walked out and tried to talk to him, but spoke a different language. And he just kept pointing to his leg, and that Sasquatch was feeling his leg and can feel that, he was broke. And the Sasquatch picked him up, threw him on his shoulder, and started walking towards the east, which is towards the saltwater and where the humans lived. Oh. And as they were walking, they stopped, and that Sasquatch grabbed a big rock against the rock wall and pushed it. When he went to a boulder, and he pulled from behind it cedar bark 3-strand rope woven the way our native people weave cedar bark, but it was really crude. It still had the outside husk, and he took this rope that was about as thick as a man's arm and threw it down this hole. And Vancouver Island is covered in limestone karst, which is, caves everywhere. More caves anywhere on Earth in limestone karst, even more than northern Vietnam. And that Sasquatch grabbed that Coast Salish man and threw him on his shoulder and climbed down that rope. And as they went down, he said they were kind of slowly spinning. The father told that woman that he could see. It looked like cocoons, 3-strand fibrous rope woven into cocoons, and inside, in the fetal position, were the remains of dead Sasquatches. And that Sasquatch went down about 30 or 40 feet and just hung on to that rope and showed him where all of these bodies were. And then he climbed out, put the man down, brought the rope back up, threw it behind the boulder, pushed the rock back in place, picked the man up, and walked out to the east again and got to the railway line. Back then, this is early 1900s, they were railway logging on Vancouver Island. And the Sasquatch just sat on the bank until all of a sudden they could hear that whistle and chugging of that train. And when the train came up, the man waved and the train stopped.
I've heard
turned
this
around
story.
to look, the Sasquatch was gone. And the man was rescued and he survived. And then this old woman was telling my sister this story. She goes, "Oh, I have something to show you." And the old lady stood up and she went to her shelf and she grabbed a shoebox, cardboard, and she put it on the table and opened it. She goes, "My dad grabbed a piece of that rope when the Sasquatch wasn't looking. Here it is." And my sister knows how to weave cedar bark, and we don't leave the outside husk on. And she said, "Tommy, you should have seen this rope. You could tell it was woven like we do, but it was done very, very crude." That lady now, she's on in years. She's in an old person's home, but that to me was one of the most amazing stories because it just exemplifies the relationship between the Sasquatch and the Indian, how we look after one another and respect one another. And that Sasquatch saved that man's life, but he also led us into the world of the Sasquatch. And when we hear the stories from these camo-clad, sofa-surfing, concrete opinionists, how come we don't see any bones?
There's a drop.
There's a good reason, because they bury their dead, and on Vancouver Island, in my region, they lay them to rest as our people do in catacombs and caves, as we used to do traditionally. So there you go. There's one of the most interesting stories I ever heard. That's for you, Barry.
That's great.
Dig it, man. All right.
Oh, yeah. That was a great story.
Barry, do you have any?
You made me howl.
I wonder why they showed him.
And boy, Thomas, what a beautiful story there.
Oh, you wait till I see you, my friend. I got more.
Yeah, I know. My mind's going 90 miles an hour, but and I'm probably going to do no justice to this one, but I'll try and tell it as I remember it. And he might be listening, and he probably call me later and say, "Damn it, you messed that story up." It was one told by my good buddy from Sasquatch Research Association, Jim. He told me a story about he had a friend up in Montana, and he had said that one day he was tracking, and he decided to take a break. And again, I'm not verbatim here, but he sat down by a tree, and as he sat down, he saw in the valley, he saw a swamp or a pond or something, and it got real quiet. And then he said, again, I hope you're not listening, Jim. I'm going to do my best here. But he said, and about 10 minutes later, a mother, a female mother, and a juvenile female, maybe could have been the daughter, they sat on both sides of him, and like anybody, he was scared shitless, but they made him feel comfortable after a while, and they just stared at him, and all he could do was look straight ahead, and in disbelief. The mother liked his sweater, and she started like somebody testing a garment or going to a store, looking at a coat. She was intrigued by his collar on his sweater, and she just kept touching it and rubbing it. And he thought, why? I couldn't imagine what he was going through, but he thought, why are they so brave? Why are they coming? Why are they sitting right by me? And as he looked straight ahead again down by the pond, there was about a 10-footer standing there watching him like, I dare you, buddy. I dare you try something. You just need to sit still and let my whatever wife and daughter check you out. But that one was incredible. And again, here's something I believe. I believe that they're so curious to interact with humans that when they get an opportunity like that, they will. That's why I'm so high about, and I believe I can get face to face and maybe even a handshake.
Wow.
Everybody still.
That'd be awesome, Barry, and especially if you got a picture of that. But Barry does have some great footage that is unreleased.
Yeah,
Hey,
you ain't seen the flu yet.
Hey, are we still ever a skeptic online here?
Yeah, I'm just trying to be a good co-host. And
Well, yeah, okay. We want you to give your input now, if you got some.
Well, so I don't know about you, but I wouldn't just sit there and look straight ahead if two different hominids, well, they're the same species, just sat and just looked at me, and you're going to look straight ahead. I mean, but that's just me though. But you go ahead, you guys. That's what I think when I hear that. But it's nothing personal, but it becomes personal. So that's, if you want my honest opinion, that's what goes through my.
Wait a minute.
That's what goes through my mind when I hear that.
Barry, did I cut you off on your story?
No, you're fine.
You were done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, that was a great story too, man. I was a little spellbound after that. I mean, I was just like, "What the hell? Was he even done?"
Hey, Mike, here's one.
Yeah, but you go ahead and you go ahead. You guys tell your story, and if you want my opinion, then
that's what I was saying, Joseph. We would like your opinion right now because we only got like 15 minutes left, so it's the skeptic's corner here.
Well, that was just it. And I appreciate you doing that, Mike. And that was honestly what I was thinking. Is like, well, you're just going to look straight ahead while presumably a mother, Sasquatch or Bigfoot. And by the way, what is the difference between a Sasquatch and a Bigfoot? Are they the same thing or different?
Same thing.
I meant to ask that earlier.
That's the same thing. What about the other story? Don't you have any comments about Tom's story?
No, I don't.
You mean nothing at all about finding their burial?
Nothing more than what I've already said. But it would just be kind of like more or less regurgitating. But
I have a question. Big surprise.
Okay.
Tom, seeing these things and knowing that they're real in your heart, and you know that they're real, how does it make you feel when people tell you that you're full of it, or skeptics, or how does it make you feel and respond?
Oh, I just punch them.
No.
No. Is it frustrating? Is it? Are you patient with people? Do you understand, or how does it make you feel?
I feel sorry for them because they've never done like me and sat in an alpine with a spotting scope and looked at this big grizzly bear lying on his belly sleeping. And then all of a sudden in my spotting scope, I see this little mouse come up to him and start crawling over his big paws. And all of a sudden he puts his big paw on top of that mouse. And the mouse, you could see it scurrying away, and it spits out from underneath the paw. And the grizzly bear with one eye open, he puts his other paw on top of that mouse. And when the skeptic there talked about Barry's experience and why this and why that, well, he's never been like me with his right ear blown out from Mexican clients pulling the trigger before I had my earplug in when I was a hunting guide for bears. And I'm on this river, and I'm sitting on the bank with my foot just right at the river's edge, and the river's doing this bubbling and gurgling, and the salmon are doing their spawning, and my clients are looking at the grizzly bears, and my Indian guide for the region and this river were doing their job, because all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I'm looking upriver, and my right ear is at the river's edge, and it's hearing the gurgling and burbling, and all of a sudden it's like, ow! And I look down at my right foot, and there's this 900-pound grizzly bear who's walking up the side of the bank, just stepped on my right foot and put all his weight on it. And all of a sudden I turn my head and I look, and I'm like not 12 inches eyeball to eyeball with a 900-pound grizzly bear. And he turns to his left and he looks at me eyeball to eyeball, and I put my head down because you don't look him in eyeball to eyeball like that. Okay. And he's standing on my right foot with his left paw, and I'm sitting there going, stupid Indian guide, how come you didn't warn me? And I could smell the breath on this bear, and he just sniffed me, and he walked upriver. Oh. I got up, and I went running over. All my clients and my Indian guide are like 40 feet behind me, and I walk up to the Indian guide, what the frick's wrong with you? How come you didn't warn me? We were calling you. We saw the bear coming upstream. And I'm like, you stupid idiot, my right ear's blown out from being a hunting guide. I told you that. And all of a sudden, this blonde-haired girl with blue eyes looks at me and goes, we were even throwing pebbles at you.
Oh, my God.
And to me, why didn't that guy move when those Sasquatches were playing with his collar? Because it is so freaking beautiful and humbling when the animal kingdom interacts with you that close and they're touching you. It is a flippin' amazing thing. And
I've experienced
you be a skeptic and sit there on the toilet doing your business and thinking about how you can be a better skeptic, but you ain't carpe frickin' diemed until you come into our world of us Indians, us Sasquatch researchers, and you walk with us down those trails day and night, and you interact with the animal kingdom, whether it be a Sasquatch, a coyote, or a bear that stepped on your right foot. It's freaking amazing out there. Get your ass off your couch, shut your computer off, and come out into our world.
You
I had a friend
that you never seen an Aboriginal, albino person in person. You personally, right?
What was that?
You said you've never seen an albino before.
No, I want to.
You.
I believe in them.
Well, I have. I told you, we said that before. So from your vantage point, I can see why you would. But my question is I guess I will question this. Why do you take such offense when people don't believe you?
It's not believing me. If I can say this, you don't have to agree with people, but if you can at the very least, try to be empathetic towards what is it that would make someone so skeptical, and when they're telling you that they've experienced certain things and they haven't seen it. I know of hunters. I used to work at what's called Game and Parks Commission. It's kind of the Fish and Wildlife for Nebraska. And I personally don't hunt. I'm vegetarian. Okay,
but I've interacted and was basically acquaintances with people who did.
Hey, we've got a psychic in the chat room. Did you know that?
I've never heard any of these hunters that I've known. They have never told me they've interacted with a Sasquatch.
Let me. Hey, Darren, can I comment on his question?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess for me, it's a little draining, to sit and listen to skeptics. At the same time, I'm tolerant, and at the same time, I could probably say, well, I don't believe anything you believe in either. And But that's too draining to go back and forth
I'm
like
not
that.
making a claim. That's the difference. And then you guys, this is what's really gets me, guys. I'm not even saying I'm a debunker. A debunker just comes out. They will tell you you're full of shit, and then they'll list the reasons why. I'm actually being open-minded about it. I'm just saying, okay, I personally am skeptical that they exist. I say there's a possibility. I don't see any proof of it, but if you do, show me. That's what I'm saying, and you guys are still taking offense of it. What I'm wondering about for you guys, Tom and Barry, when you run across someone who's truly a debunker, because you can't take me, and I'm just a skeptic.
The chat room doesn't think so. They said skeptics have open minds and are not judgmental.
Am I being judgmental?
That's what. That's not me. That's the chat room.
I don't think you are.
All right.
And then they're saying, skeptics help listeners decide on their own.
Sorry.
And they're also saying skeptics help listeners decide on their own.
Well,
the bottom
you
line
can believe
is,
whatever the hell you want to believe. But would you rather that I lie to you guys and say,
no.
Wow, that's so cool. I believe you. Well, I'm not you, Mike, as in the listeners, those in the chat room is what I mean.
They're calling you an aggressive contrarian. They're calling you an aggressive contrarian, not a
Mike,
skeptic.
can I talk here?
Well, then
go ahead. Go ahead.
Let Tom talk. Joseph, let Tom say something.
Okay, it's up in Canada. We do this
I've been
thing
quiet
with
all this
rubber.
time, and now when I do start talking.
Hey, I got
ahead.
the talking stick here. Up in Canada, we do this thing when people whine. We rub our thumb and our.
I'm tired of you saying I'm whining,
together.
okay?
It refers
all right,
to.
Tom?
Hey,
I'm not.
Hey, I'll see you in Nebraska, and then we'll get in our headlock, okay? But anyway, we do this thing because Bushmen like me, it's just like rubbing two styrofoam egg cartons together. Squeak, 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 squeak. We hear it. It's
That's
like,
how you sound
you know,
like to me when you
bottom
keep
line
going
is the
on
only
and
way
on
I can
about the
shut you up is to bring you out. And then when you realize that you're out there for 2 weeks with me in the bush and we don't bring any food. All we bring is cigarettes, fire starter, gun, knife, and we go out in the bush and you walk in my moccasins with me down my path and you eat clams and cockles and mussels and barnacles and you piddle in the bush and you know what? 2 weeks you come out and you're a very humble man now. Now you've realized that bush will really bite you in the ass real quick. And you might have heard something or saw something or smelled something or had something thrown at you or seen something. But the bottom line is we know so much about deep space. We don't know bugger all about the deep oceans, and we sure as hell don't know much about our deep forests, our deserts, our Arctic, our island zones. And the bottom line with the skeptics is all I got to say is, hey, anytime, any date, give me a call, send me an email, and I'll be glad to meet you and bring you into the bush. And then you can do like you're doing right now and try to interrupt me, because after 2 weeks with me in the bush, you will know your place. You will not interrupt me no more, because you'll learn my world and you'll learn the world of the Sasquatch. And as far as skeptics go, I am so sick and bloody tired of listening to the egg cartons being scratched against each other. And all I got to say is pack your bag, meet me at SeaTac, we'll drive to Vancouver Island, and we're going to bush. Then you can be as opinionated as you want after 2 weeks with me in the world of the Sasquatch.
I agree. Let's.
Did you put Joe Seth in the dungeon?
I didn't do it. Igor did.
Hey, Tom, why do you think he showed him?
He was being belligerent, Darren. I had to put him in a dungeon.
He was being an asshole. I had to put him in his place.
Hey, why do you think he moved that rock and showed him the dead bodies of his ancestors or whatever?
Respect.
In that story.
He wanted to ensure the respect between the humans to the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, would continue on and stay in place.
It seems like they're more human than ape when they do that. And if they saved somebody. That was it a male?
Like Peggy just said, it is very interesting. It was a big male, dominant male. It had white on its chest. It was older. It's just respect. It's to let each other know from each race or species or whatever we happen to be, different or the same. It's just to know that we have to continue down the path that we have done for thousands of years. We respect one another.
It is interesting that the old ones seem to be more, gentle and wise. They probably have seen people more throughout their lives, and they probably know that they're not all out to get them. Where the young, big males really try to fight and protect their females. It's interesting.
I let him out of the dungeon again. We will see if he can behave now.
All right.
Hey, Wolf.
I like that.
Or I will bonk him this time. I will bonk him.
In fairness to
Hey,
Joseph,
Igor's going to bonk you this time, Joseph, if you get out of line and start yelling at the guests. So you are back on live with the guest, Mr. Skeptic.
Hey, Wolfman.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Barry.
This is Barry.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes left, so Barry, give her. Okay, Barry, you're on. We got 3 minutes left, but I'm going to start another show later, but I know you don't have time. So, Barry, this is your time. Damn it, his call dropped. Okay.
It's got to be poorly produced, Wolfman.
No, that's just the, I don't know. It's coming back in right now.
I'm just messing with you.
It keeps doing this all the time. I don't know. It's a free app, but it drops once in a while. But here he is.
I got dropped there again.
Yeah, it's
Barry.
weird. But that's probably,
Hey,
yeah, he's got a bad internet over there. You're on, Barry.
Well, anyway, I guess my message to Joseph is you're welcome anytime. You were brought on the show to be a skeptic, and I get it. It's nothing personal with me. And I have to tell you that the only way, and again, you might not like how Tom's responding to you, but that's the bottom line. I would be happy to meet you somewhere to do your thing with you. You come up and you're more than welcome. So that's all I got to say to you. I really don't have time to go back and forth. I seen what I seen, and I've been doing it for a long time.
I appreciate it.
I haven't met too many hunters who see a big.
If I lived in Lincoln and someone was offering to come up
Thank
there
you, Barry. Thank you.
To see Bigfoot, I would drive up 2 hours.
Yeah,
You
but
still
Tom,
are.
Because there'd be too much conflict, Darren. I appreciate you
No, there
saying that.
wouldn't.
There'd be too much conflict.
No, there wouldn't.
We are not on the same page.
You're never going to be on the same page if you don't meet.
No, we're not. It's okay. It's okay to have differences, and it's okay that not everyone's going to see eye to eye. Not everyone's going to get along. It's just best to be grown up about it and just keep it at that.
Yeah, but if they want to try to prove something to you, you want to go there and see it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right.
All right. Well, just leave your head down in the sand then, I guess. I don't know.
It's like an
No, it's not. It's just
be
avoiding
like
a
the
conflict.
ostrich.
Wise man say, do not be like the ostrich and stick your head into the ground.
Right, guys?
Love you, Joseph.
We love you.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
coming
coming
on,
on,
buddy.
man. Tom, thanks so much, man. You're an awesome storyteller. You're welcome
Oh, you ain't
anytime.
even seen nothing yet. You get me on a game. Get
Yeah,
out,
we re-
Joseph, though.
we really appreciate your time, and Barry, we love you, man. Barry, you're still on the call. Everyone say goodnight.
Yeah.
Good night. Had fun.
See you later, Barry. See you Friday.
Don't piddle yourselves.
And yeah, go to the Sasquatch Island Facebook page and go to the Res Squatching Research Team Facebook page and favorite them there.
And don't forget, HamumuAdventures.com.
All right.
Music by Shylock and Relic, Monster Castle.